also tragedy when we're in too deep. And you and I, we got history. Yeah. Go look in the mirror, say, hey, I'm sorry for all the pain. I'm sorry for all the pain. Go look in the mirror, say, hey, I'm sorry for all the pain. I'm sorry for all the pain. Go look in the mirror, say, hey, I'm sorry for all the pain. I'm sorry for all the pain.
Never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back again with EURC 2020 playoffs time, and we are in the semi-final stage. Over 200 teams have been competing in their respective Nationals League this time, and the best 32 teams made it to EURC. And now we came down to the last 4 teams, 2 of which come from Germany, 1 from the UK, and 1 from the region that has probably surprised anyone this time, the Netherlands. And I'm Crafty. I'm once again joined by Kilsink. How are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I'm really, really excited for the matches lined up today. Obviously, as you said, yeah, full credit to Netherlands. I don't think anybody expected them to have 3 in the quarterfinals. To progress a team through is just fantastic, and it's so lovely to see 3 different countries being represented here out of the possible 4 that could be. But first match up, obviously Netherlands versus England here, or the UK rather, and it's something spectacular. I think at the start, obviously, people weren't sure who was going to make it through from each respective country. I think a lot of people thought Berlin were going to make it through, which we've got to. But we've actually joined here by Princey to give us obviously a little bit more of an insight into UWEC Stag. So Princey, hello.
Hello. How's it going?
Obviously great. So go on, tell us what you know. Tell us what you think the viewers should know about UWEC Stags. Like, what are they going to bring to the table that maybe KSC might struggle with?
Well, okay. UWE are a very new team. They appeared out the blue almost this season with the pickup of Sevadan in the NSC. He was the big somebody to appear because obviously he was XRLCS level and he's still, round and about that. And then you've got Jordan Incognito at the time, they were low GC, they were mid GC, and it was like, okay, doing the predictions at the start of the season for the NSC, everyone's like, they could be something. They could maybe sneak in a top 6. We'll see how it goes. As the season progressed, they went undefeated in the first week. They went undefeated in the second week, taking down the former champions in Portsmouth. And then that's when everyone was like, hold up a second. These guys are pretty good here. They're onto something. And as the season's progressed, we've seen that basically go through. They had to start in the EURC through the open qualifiers. And I'm pretty sure they went through pretty easily. It was a nice breeze for them. But throughout the season, Jordan, Incognito, they've improved together. Watching them and casting them, they've got a real good connection with Sebadam sort of being the backbone of the team and just making sure like things work out. And playing against Kit here, this I think it'd be a good sign for them. But what's interesting is just with the whole NSE and UK teams, UWE and Nottingham Trent made the top 8, but they both lost last week or 2 weeks ago to the two teams that didn't make it, which were Lancaster and Portsmouth, in fact, who are now the NSE champions. But that's another story. Sorry.
Yeah, and obviously it's worth noting that getting through to the stage they're at now, they actually got 3-1 by Nottingham Trent earlier on in this EURC. Now, since then, Nottingham Trent, we obviously saw a departure on Monday to Fairplay Groningen, obviously one of the teams that we're going to be seeing second on stream today, and they got completely swept. And then UWEC Stags came in and almost completely swept Hamburg. And that was obviously surprising to, I think, a lot of people. Even before the stream, we had the statistics up, and it was 69% we're expecting, or 79% we're expecting Hamburg to just go through that without any sort of problems. And UWE came out and honestly looked one of the strongest teams we'd seen of this entire tournament so far. Princey, from what you've seen from them, is that what they do consistently, or is that just something they can pull off that's a spectacular feat when they're on their game? They are that much above everybody else. Do you think they're capable of doing that back to back?
It's possible, but I mean, you can back me up on this. I think UWE have been one of the teams that have been consistently inconsistent. They, like I was saying before, they had their storming week where they came out and they trashed the whole Southern qualifiers in NSE, and they look like the team on top of the world. No one's going to beat them this season. The next week they go and they fall to a couple teams that you didn't expect them to ever to lose to. Then the week after that they're back on it again. Then the week after that they've fallen off, and they've had these ups and downs. And I mean, speaking of, they obviously 4-1'd Hamburg just last week, but before that they got reverse swept by Lancaster, which you had the joys of casting. And that was a crazy result because they were 3-0 up in the series. They really should have seen that out.
Yeah, they should, and that's pretty much why I ask you, because, like you say, I am one of the other people who's definitely gonna know about that situation, and I've seen how inconsistent they can be. And if they come in and start off inconsistent against a team like Kit SC, they're going to be absolutely mowed down straight away. They're going to have absolutely no chance to get a foothold. But, and I think I said this last week, Sebadam is obviously the key player that everybody looks out for on the UWEC Stags team, and if he plays as a team, they tend to dominate most opponents they come across. But it's when Sebadam starts taking himself out, making too many commits, too many decisions by himself that don't look like a team decision, that's when UWE almost start to falter. And I think, having seen them, I think Sebadam's capable of keeping out of that kind of mentality. But I don't know how much you know about KSC. I don't know if you've seen them. Have you actually seen them play yet, Princey, at all?
Yeah, I watched them play last week when I wasn't casting, I think, but I've definitely cast them a couple times before, and for me, they're also consistently inconsistent. It's weird. Yeah. It's like you can.
I was about to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you've got information on that, Crafty, but yeah, they're also like, they can be really good, and other times they just fall apart. And I think a lot of it for both these teams is the mental aspect. Because I watched you cast the games against Lancaster for UWE, and it seemed like once it started going bad, once Lancaster had their miraculous, back to back saves that they were doing and pulling off these crazy stops on the goal line that really should have seen the end to the series. I think Incognito lost his way a bit, and then he just seemed to ball chase and be on top of everything, which really broke down rotations. So if I had to say that there was a weak link, as such, I'd probably throw that in as UW's. But on the same side, from seeing Kit play, I'd probably say Pads can get in ahead a bit as well, and then can, throw in a load of whiffs. But that was mostly seen, I think, when they were playing Berlin, and Berlin are the favorites in this whole thing. So, it's hard to really judge quite how it'll go until we see these two players hit the field. But what is interesting is Cenarius managed to hop onto one of Sebadam's streams earlier today. And from Sebadam himself, he said, according to Nagflow, these guys chase. And if they're fast chasers, we're done for. I don't think we're good against people who chase the ball. So he's not too confident. But, maybe that's just because this team are the only team that have not been a national champion that are left here in this stage. They're the newest and least decorated of all teams here. They technically, besides, the whole of the UK watching them, rooting for them, they have no pressure.
Yeah, they are UK's last hope. But I think we've seen great synergy between especially Sebadam and Jordan last week. And on the same side, sort of seen Arno and Mati really pop off at times in that game versus Rotterdam. So, yeah, it probably could come down to which team is going to be able to sort of create that same synergy that they had last week again in this semifinal, and be able to pressure the other team.
Yeah, definitely. And with that, it's worth pointing out now that last week everybody predicted against UWE. Community prediction this week, 59% of you think that UWE are going to take this. Now, I think if we'd gone back, if we'd had this same matchup last week, before anybody watched UWE take an absolutely dominant victory, I'm almost certain everybody would have said maybe 79, 80+ % would have said that UWE were going out against Kit FC. And now, nobody is questioning it. There aren't many doubters.
I mean, even I am betting against Kit FC. So yeah.
KSC had a wobbly time getting through Erasmus Rotterdam, didn't they?
Yeah,
because that was a 4-3. That was a very close matchup, a very good matchup to watch. But there were times where, we saw KSC be the best that they could be, and there were times where we saw them really wobbly, really shaky. And it's when it's inconsistencies between weeks, between matches, like between series and stuff, you can sort of understand that, you'd have a bad day, but when it's between games within a series, that's really hard to understand why that's happening. And, maybe that mental problem that they might just switch off at times and get caught. I think that's where, having someone the likes of Sebadam in your team will really just take hold of the game. And that's why my prediction for this one is a 4-2 win for UWE. Because even though, as we've said a lot, both these teams are inconsistent, I think UW are just they're breaking out of the inconsistency that they've had, and it's sort of on the way to, actually being a much more solid outfit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, myself, I'm actually going to have to go 4-2, but in the opposite direction, and the only reason is because I think that I can see Kit SC starting a little bit stronger than UWE might start, and I think they might take an early, say, 2-3 game lead, and I think at that point, chasing that far behind, I don't think UWE will be able to pull off a victory. But that being said, it's nigh on impossible to guess what this game's going to be like. Like we said, we've seen these two teams play so often now that it just depends on who turns up today, and we don't know that until we actually start watching the match. But Crafty, who you rooting for?
Yeah,
you said UWE.
My final thoughts. I guess I think UWE got this because they really convinced me last week. I was already expecting a lot from them through the course of EURC. They have developed an increase in quality throughout the whole tournament, in my opinion. And this is where they need to show up. Of course, this is probably the most competitive game we've seen throughout all of EURC this year. So that it's going to be super exciting, but I think this could be a potential 4-3, 4-2 for UWE as well. Just because Kidesi showed too many mistakes last week against Rotterdam. They didn't really convince me too much in that series. But then again, if they are able to really step up, if they are able to show what they're capable of, then they can definitely win the series. And that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, definitely. So 2-1 for UWE here on the casters, and obviously Princey joining us here. I think if you're ready, Crafty, I think we're ready to jump into that. So thank you so much for joining us, Princey. Thank you for giving us that little bit of insight to UWE. And without further ado, we will start off this game one now. and it's going to be incredible.
Absolutely. This is probably, yeah, as I said, the most competitive game we've seen so far in EURC, and I can't wait for it to begin.
No, nor can I. And starting off the play, we're seeing UWE clearing it long and wide. Arno being met on the sidewall there, and a big miss coming out early on, and no one to follow up. And it's plays like this that we did not want to see UWE Sea Stags making this early in the game, and immediately they've started off doing it. Arno popping it just over the top. Jordan needs to get a slow clear, but straight into the path of Pads, and Arno is there to get it off of the backboard. This needs to be read. Incognito doing so quickly, and Jordan with the clear out, but pass straight back into center, and Arno cannot make the contact there to get the ball towards that goal.
Yeah, already off to a good start there here for KDC. They already tried to increase the pressure here, increase the pace, and Matisse the first to score after not even a minute. Pats with the dunk onto Jordan, I believe it was. And Matisse with the follow-up. Beautiful play here.
Yeah, and coming out a little bit slow, UWE just are looking a little bit sketchy at the moment. They're not looking like they've coming out as the strong team that we've seen them, but nevertheless, Incognito trying to push it out to Sebadam. Sebadam into the corner, and this is where the possibilities come in. A delayed flick into Pads, but Pads with a good block. Incognito high off of the backboard. Matey there to read that one, though, not allowing that same pressure to come through as was just allowed onto UWE Sea Stags. Arno again with the follow, and this is where things get dangerous for UWE Sea Stags, but met in the corner. Sebadam pops it onto the sidewall, and Arno's going to be left in goal by themselves, and Incognito now again on his own in the backfield, but met early in the air there. Sebadam trying to get the clear off. It's gone center, and Jordan being left to clear. This time manages, so no goal coming through there. Matey high off of the backboard trying to get the drop down, but Sebadam being left to clear that ball away from Pads, and again an attempt away from Arno, but Arno back into center, and Incognito there to clear that one away.
Yeah, and to be honest, UWE failed to get any control over midfield at the moment. I don't think they have seen a midfield boost for the whole course of this game so far. Now maybe a chance for Sebadam, but I think he was with little to no boost as well. And that pressure in midfield allows KDC to basically do whatever they want in the half of UWE, and UWE so far have no answer for it.
Yeah, and as Arno tries to clear his line, Jordan's challenging early. They really don't want to allow that pressure, like you say, to come back into the midfield, because they really aren't doing too well there. Another miss coming out from UWE, but Incognito there to block. And this is going to go the way of Sebadam. He's going to wait for Matey to hit this, but Jordan following up early. And this is where you don't want to be left against UWE. And as we're saying it, Jordan coming through with a shot, tying up the game in what looked like a so far dominant KSC performance. A placement into the top of the goal. Arno is not quick enough to reach it, and 1-1, 2 minutes 37 seconds remaining in this game.
Kind of a surprise, to be honest, as you said, and it's not only the first goal of the game, it's also the first shot on target in this game. So pretty effective on that one. But yeah, as you said, that's exactly what they're trying to achieve here. They want this space to be created in front of the goal, and if KDC allows them to give them that space, they will find the answer. And Jordan has already been popping off last week. I would have given him the MVP even again in the series against Hamburg, and if he can find these opportunities again in this game, he will definitely use them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we even said that the best player last week by quite a distance was Jordan. We expected it to be Sebadam, but it just wasn't. But as we see play developing, Incognito can't get that hit, and with zero boost, the bump and demo comes out, and Pads cannot find the goal, and it looked like it was going to be relatively open there for KSC, but no one able to convert their chances. We saw it earlier on in the opposite end with Jordan opting for a pass, not realizing the goal was open, and we've seen it there again. The demo coming through, but it actually blocks line of vision. Incognito looking to challenge Arno there, instead allowing Sebadam to take that off of the wall. An attempted bump coming through, but Sebadam just not opting for that, going for the boost instead, and Arno clearing wide, and Incognito and Jordan double commit from both of those there. Incognito now taken out of the play. Jordan's going to be left to try and clear it wide, and Incognito following that up. He's going to allow Sebadam to take the ball after a Pads touch, and this defense is where it gets a little bit threatening. KSC have looked the more dominant on offense at the moment, but a relatively open goal, and Matey coming through with the crucial save. Very few in the backfield there, and that is something they do not want to be leaving themselves short on against UWE.
No, not at all. And we've seen these shots coming in from midfield even last week as well, and they will make quick use of it. Sabadam now with a great second touch there on the wall as well. Finally able to sort of create some space in midfield for them, allowing them to reset, get some boost control. And they are starting to get better into this game with every minute that's passed so far.
Yeah, they are. And Pads with the attempted flick cannot get it over Jordan. He met early on that one. Sebadan with the follow through, and a great touch here. And Incognito's looking for the pass over, but it's too far behind Jordan there. And Incognito repassing it center for Jordan, and he gets the shot. But the save coming through from Kit SC with only 10 seconds left. And it looks like in the first game of the series, we could be going to an overtime if Incognito can't get this out, which he can't. Overtime in the first game of the series. Did we think this was going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's just as close as we expected, and I love it. But it was basically two different halves in this game. First few minutes were pretty dominant for Kit SC, and then UW were really stepping up, creating their own chances, getting more control, and answering these plays from Kit SC. And it's just what I hope to see. I guess whoever has got the better nerves now in this overtime will be able to get away with the first game.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few misses coming out recently from this UWC Stags defense, and that is going to be a bit risky, but Sebadam, the one in defense there, and no problem for him. But Matey with the dunk over, I believe that was Incognito. It could have been Jordan, but even so, Sebadam with a great initial clear. Arno getting the pass perfectly back, and your Matey absolutely getting the 50 on Incognito. They're forcing it into the bottom right-hand corner, and very early on, we see Kit SC taking the first game of the series.
Yeah, definitely a close one. I mean, overall, it looked like Kit SC had created a lot more offensively throughout the course of the whole game, but I really liked how UWE were sort of waiting it out a bit, just seeing how fast Kit SC were going to play, because yeah, as Sebadam even said himself, if Kit SC is playing super aggressive, they're just going for every ball, if they're trying to be as fast as possible, they could potentially struggle here. But they gave him some space and realized, okay, we can challenge these balls, we can sort of transition from a good defense into a quick offense, and made it work with that equalizer. But then again, Kit SC, a team that will always find opportunities to score themselves, and they showed that in overtime. And I mean, it even looked like they were misplaying it. I think Pats could have gone for a pass here instead of trying to hit that on target, but all three of them were following up for that ball, getting that dunk, and with that, getting the win in game one.
Yeah, and I'd said it before the match started that if Kit SC started the stronger team, that they were likely to take the first couple of matches. It will be interesting to see how much that holds true, or whether UWE have an immediate response to this match, because at the start, I think it's worth noting that every single player on that pitch, Sebadam, Jordan, and Incognito, were making some misses that were surprising to us. We hadn't seen that at all last week. Last week, they were perfect for every bit of play they were making. It just seemed to be the right play and the right decision. Whereas in this game, there was a lot of questionable choices. We saw Incognito trying to pass it to Jordan a few times and getting it just behind him. But what is good to see, and I think something that we didn't see as much from Kit SC, was the pass plays being attempted more from this UWE side. And if they come to fruition, this could be a much more worrying offense from them, and we might see the first pass play coming through, but Incognito not passing it quickly enough to Jordan. Sebadam trying to reach him. He's going to go for the back wall again and get the pass in, but he's gone for the double touch and dunk instead. Cannot get it through, and Incognito left trying to keep this attack alive.
Yeah, and once again, it's immediate pressure now from the UWE. They realized, okay, we need to be pressuring Kit SC as soon as possible, because we cannot give them the space. But the same goes for Kit SC, because if you let yourself get to that point where you sort of turtle yourself into defense, Kit SC is not the team that wants to play in defense for the most part of the game. So they really want to be looking out for these challenges as soon as possible as well. And it's really interesting what team is the first to get to the point where they can establish boost control in midfield and are able to create that set pressure.
Yeah, and an attempted dunk coming through from Incognito, and that would have been so important if he'd have got that an easy goal, but just misses it. Jordan trying to pass it back to Sebadam. It's gone past him, and now a single player on defense, and this is not what you really want against this KitSC side, but Sebadam clearing the midfield, not allowing that pressure to come up, and this is where he's most dangerous, and Arno challenging early, not allowing the pass to come through. Matey forcing it upfield to Arno, but Sebadam cutting out that play, and this is a lot faster from UWE now.
Yeah, absolutely, and not a lot of boost on the side of KitSC, I believe. Another mid boost stolen away by Sebadam, and it just feels like KitSC doesn't really find these clears right now. Arno not really hitting that ball as well, and seems like it's just about time
but that's
when they're gonna
great
hit that
pass. Yeah, that's an unbelievable pass right there. And this is what we were saying just before the start of this match, is that UWE were looking for those passes more. And we ironically said about Incognito not finding Jordan in the previous match. And this time, Incognito finding Jordan perfectly. Jordan is up early. He knows he's beating out the defense there. All the defense do is hope and pray that they can save it. And Incognito going for another pass off of the backboard, and it's finding Jordan again. Jordan will look to try and get a second one on this, but Arno, easy clear for him, and he's left trying to clear again, but nobody upfield with him. He's going to have to try and almost make this solo, and does so. Matey with the 50 almost gets the block into the goal, but cannot do it. Jordan again with the 50. Sebadam up early, trying to play it across to Incognito. Incognito trying to beat out Matey, but Matey, no difficult shot coming through there, and Sebadam's going to look at taking this, but it's a triple commit coming the way of UWE, and that is not what you want.
But that's something we've seen against Hamburg as well, and it immediately is punished by Matey. They are all too far up front. I mean, it looked like they had the defenders in place, but I don't know if Pats touched, went for a little bump there as well, mid-air. But Matey getting that dunk here is crucial in the equalizer for KitSC. And yeah, of course, that's something we don't want to see from UWE. No triple commits, please.
Yeah, definitely. The triple commit, especially from a team like this, a team that focuses so much on passing, is actually quite rare, because usually they're in perfect positions. And as I say that, Incognito again, I believe that was to Jordan. And it just seems to be these two link up perfectly, albeit it was a great block from Incognito, not an intentional pass, but nevertheless still finding the target. Jordan waiting upfield, knowing Incognito has the capability to beat out those defenders, does so, and a perfect placement shot, again taking the game 2-1 at the moment. 2 minutes left, and KitSC need a good response to this, because at the moment their only real attacking opportunity came from a triple commit from this UWE side.
Unfortunately, yeah. But I mean, Jordan has just been so dangerous in the box whenever he's lurking for these balls, and both Incognito and Sebadam have been looking to set up these passes onto him. And if they allow him to be in that position on the side of KitSC, he will find these shots over and over again. KitSC really needs to establish that defense and need to challenge these balls before they can actually reach Jordan.
Yeah, they really do, because as we know, Jordan's always there to pick off the passes, but Matey up into the corner, going to be challenging it with Sebadam, gets the 50, but Jordan there behind Sebadam, ready for that play to develop. Sebadam passing out early to Jordan, but he's got no boost, forced to rotate back then. Incognito forced to try and clear the lines, but passes it straight into the path of Pads, and Jordan needs a good clear. Doesn't get a great one, but fortunately for him, nobody following up there from KitSC. Arno with the attempted ceiling pass there, and Jordan putting it in front of goal, and he's got limited boost to work with. Fortunately for him, the side of KitSC did not realize that one, and nothing was punished for that play. But that was a good opportunity for KitSC to be pushing up and trying to make an opportunity for themselves, and they just don't. High pass coming off of the backboard from Sebadam, cut out from the middle from Jordan, and Matey trying to get a play on Incognito. Is going to look for center for Sebadam. Sebadam trying to push it up early. Jordan's going to look for the follow on the left-hand side. Sebadam's going to look to get it there. Can't get the touch, however, and a block in midfield from Incognito onto Matey. Slows down the play on the return from KitSC.
Yeah, it looks like that's what UWE want to do now. Try to slow down the play, because we have seen some bit of ball chasing there from KitSC now in the middle area, really trying to cut into these passes as soon as possible, get to the ball in midfield, and UWE will have a hard time stopping them from doing so unless they can sort of find these bumps, these demos as well, and slow down the pace. And they do find the first win of the series, though. With that, it's an even series 1-1, and it's just going to stay that close, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's honestly what we expected to see from these two teams. We saw KSC struggle a little bit on Monday with a 4-3 victory, and we saw UWE coming out 4-1, but arguably UWE were playing a slightly easier team. I think it's fair to say. That's not to say Hamburg is a bad team, but they were obviously the slightly easier team to play than Erasmus. And KSC only just beating out Erasmus. If we were to predict a score, we all predicted at least 4-2, yourself going for 4-3 potentially to UWE. And we could very much be seeing that because neither team looks overly dominant at this point in time. They are trading equal shots, equal positions on the field. Neither one looking to overcommit too much. The single overcommit we saw from UWE Sea Stags, they're not going to make that same mistake again now. Severdam looked hesitant going up for it initially on that triple commit. He looked like he was slowing down. He didn't want to commit that. Clearly, whatever was going on in comms there made him commit, and eventually all three doing so. And once you're facing a 2-on-1, a 3-on-1 against Kit SC, you're almost guaranteed to lose that one because they have so much potential to get a pass in field. They got so much potential to just take a solo dribble. And unfortunately for them, they got a good 50 that led to the goal into the bottom corner. But immediately, UWE Sea Stags responded to that. 2-1 in the game, 1-0 in the series. And this is as close as I think we wanted it to be.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it's still fair to say that Kid SC didn't look terrible at all in this game. I mean, their defense has been solid so far, even though they were pressured a lot in the second match. But we haven't seen any major slip-ups, so to speak. It's been more like UWE playing it really well and finding really good passes.
It really is. And Jordan's going to look to retreat to that midfield boost. I think he's got that. He's got the boost to attack. And this is where it gets dangerous because the boost is definitely on the side at the moment of UWE. But Matey with a good clear and a good grab of the boost into the corner. Takes himself out of the play. Doing so, though, and a good fake from Incognito. Not sure if it was intentional, but Matey there to block that one. And Sebadam's going to look at getting pressure back in. And this is where they could run the risk of going a goal down. But a slow attacking play from UWE sees nothing coming from that. Sebadam getting his flick, trying to go for the bump as well, not able to. Incognito is going to look for place it in the bottom corner, can't find the target. Sebadam looking for the middle again, and this is relentless at the moment from UWE, and it's a great bump. Incognito needs a good follow-up, and Jordan needs a good redirect, but neither coming through there, and Sebadam's going to need to try and make a solo play come through here. Gets it to center, but no one there from UWE, and Matey forced to clear the back lines for Kit SC, and they need the pressure off here.
Oh, absolutely. That was so close, but this is just so great to see from UWE because, yeah, we did not expect them to be able to create that amount of pressure early on once again, but they find their opportunities and they are able to keep up with the speed of Kid SC. And for UWE and UK fans, respectively, that is a great sign.
Yeah, it's a really great sign. They are grabbing every single boost pad they can find on this field right now and using it to the best of their ability. And Sebadam trying to get the ceiling shot, but it's not bouncing fast enough for him. He's taking himself out of the play, and Incognito is taking himself out again. And that is a misplay on the defense, but credit to the offense of Kit SC here. They got the ball cleared extremely quickly. Matey with a good recovery on that sidewall, and Arno reading that early, getting it over the top of Jordan. But a miss from Incognito coming out there is what was crucial to the offense being so dominant there from Kit SC. 1 goal to the good, but 3 minutes 10 remaining, and UWE still have every opportunity to bring this back.
Oh, absolutely, especially if they can continue to play like they did in the previous 2 minutes. But yeah, once again, you give them one opportunity, and I think it was Mati there, yeah, picking up that boost, and as soon as he got that, he could immediately transition into offense. Arno was ready for the play. You can really see the communication in between those two is on point.
Yeah, it really is. An Incognito with a slow pass over to Sebadam. Sebadam not risking jumping for that. We know how high a level of player is. He is not going to be baited into any challenges that he does not need to make. But Incognito, again, being forced into that 50 by Pads, and Pads the winner of that one. Jordan looking to take it out slow. A little bit of a patient jump there, an attempted bump, and it's gonna leave Sebadam needing to jump too early for that ball. The ball finds its way creeping under the crossbar, and Matey with a great shot there, but credit as well to Pads. The incredible attempt on the bump forces Sebadam to be a little less patient with that challenge, and it forces the ball under the crossbar, and that is a great team play from everybody on the KitSC side, showing dominance. Even if they're playing slower, they can still hold themselves in a game.
Absolutely, it's just going back and forth. Sabadam with a great shot, but this time T going for the clear. And I mean, it could have gone either way in this game as well, and now it's all of a sudden UWE find themselves 2 goals down and really have to increase the speed now, pressure KitSC into their own halves, but so far KitSC doing a great job defending these attempts even, and it could look like they can actually get away with it, but as I say, that Sebadam finds an opportunity and immediately scores.
Yeah, the opportunity found from Sebadam there was unbelievable. The recovery off onto the sidewall was unreal, and this is what separates some of the high-level players from the lower ones. The ability to land on the wall, immediately jump off, still get his flip, and use it to perfectly place it into the top corner is just something that we don't see from a lot of players, even in these higher matches. But a misplay on defense again coming through, and an open opportunity for Matey off of a kickoff goal, and it looked like Sebadam was going to get it, but again, the attempted bump onto him, it looked like a misplay on defense at first, but it's not actually the attempted bump. Second time it's been tried on Sebadam, and the second time it's caused a goal for this KitSC side, and they will now know what is going to work in this game, and we could be seeing a lot more bumps trying to come through now onto the critical players and the crucial ones to clear the ball off the UWE side.
Yeah, the demo even there from Mati right before he's able to actually make that shot. So, crucial play there between both Arno and Mati. What a beautiful pass there. Basically, almost pinched it between each other. And KitSC looked like they finally found their footing. And what is Sebadam up to? He just gets tossed around by Mati.
Yeah, and it's almost as if the casters are just future predictions here. We said that was something they needed to look at doing, and immediately Sebadam is just taken out of the play for a good 15 seconds there. But Mati just backing off here. He hasn't got the boost, but it doesn't matter. Arno with a basically solo play there off of the sidewall. Can see Mati has no boost, gets it over one, dunks it over the second, and unfortunately for Jordan, puts it into his own goal. I'm not sure if it was going that way, but there wasn't much more he could have done there. Needed to be positioned for the potential dunk, instead positions himself to get the redirect in his own goal. And it's unfortunate from him, but KitSC have definitely looked the dominant team as they look to take it to 5-1, and they're up so much quicker as well. Pads is going to look to get this if Sebadam misses, but Sebadam obviously not missing often, and in fact it's Pads with a miss, but nobody following up from UWE, and it almost looks as if they're ready to reset for the next match. They have let this one go now. They're taking their time, and they're just trying to slow down play so the momentum does not shift in the favor of KitSC too heavily for this next game that comes out.
Yeah, KitSC really stepping up in this third game, and there's no doubt that this is all but decided now. And even finding a fifth one after this great play there on the wall from Mati. Finds the pinch, and KitSC looked like day and night now between game 2 and game 3. They didn't, as I said, they didn't play badly in game 2, but they were way too passive, way too hesitant in defense at times, and this time they've just taken over the game, control over the entirety of the field. 6-1 now. That is just brutal.
Yeah, and we see an immediate leave there from Incognito. Chances are he's going to look to change cars or something there. He's just restarting his PC, so just having a few technical issues with their game.
No rage quit.
It doesn't matter whether you're having technical difficulties or not. There's still obviously 2 other players on that field who aren't. And KitSC that game looked unbelievably dominant. Matty was just pulling off plays left, right, and center. And it's what we expected to see from both teams, really. But in this game, the defense just wasn't holding up for UWE, and KitSC were just punishing every positional mistake, every offensive mistake that they were making. They were absolutely punishing it.
Oh, absolutely. And especially with the physical plays that we've seen, it's a play style that they don't use very often, but when they use it, they are able to use it very efficiently. And we've seen it in this game. They basically found a goal with every bump play or demo play they went for. And it looked like UWE weren't really ready for it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think throughout that entire match, it needs to be noted that UWE was still trying to play as a team, but nothing was working. The start of that match, I'd probably say for the first... So I think the first goal was scored 3 minutes 10 in. So it's not as if they didn't have enough time to pull back a victory there. They had every opportunity you could ask for. The first maybe minute 30, they were dominant in terms of speed on that field. They didn't look like they were going to be losing. They didn't look like they were going to be taking the first goal against them. They certainly didn't look like they were going to end the game 6-1, down. And a few kickoff goals come in the way of Kit SC, a few defensive mistakes come in the way of UWEC Stags, and a few attempted bumps coming out on Sebadam. And you're left with a team that's looking the strongest to a team that's looking like they don't know how to play at all. And it's no discredit to UWE because Kit SC were just that dominant, and they are going to look to start that game early again. I wouldn't be surprised if they use one of the players on their team to almost take out Sebadam, just solo him in, just absolutely hone in on him like a missile and just take him out of play completely, because the minute they started doing that, the whole team looked like they were struggling a little bit.
Yeah, and even though we said before that both Jordan and Incognito have been stepping up, but it still feels like Sebadam is sort of that glue that keeps the whole team together, and if you take him out, you can really punish their positioning.
But that's a great pass, and Sebadam can't find the second touch, but Incognito with another pass back in. Sebadam with the attempted block, and Jordan's going to need to try and get this through quickly, but a bump coming through again from this Kit SC team, and it is working for them. They cut down the play. They slowed it down to the point that no real play can come out, but Sebadam up early, and Jordan is up before both. A double commit and a bump onto Arno, and Sebadam can turn and go for a shot here. Instead passes it over to Jordan. Jordan trying to find that gap, and the defense holding through from Kit, and now there is no one on defense for UWE, but now all three managed to make it back. A double commit into the corner, just acknowledging how risky that play looked there.
And they're looking to find these passes once again, but so far, Kit SC doing a good job defending it, and now even trying to challenge them as early as possible, going for these challenges in midfield. Sebadam at least has been able to play, and UWE looking for some bump plays themselves now.
Yeah, I think UWE, their retaliation so far to Kit SC has just been play how they're playing in the previous match, it almost feels like. And it worked. It worked for them so far. The trading of games just shows that although UWE don't start off first, they start stronger. But saying that, the fourth game, taken early lead by Kit SC. Great pass over from Pads over the crossbar, takes out the defense there from UWE, and Arno there to place it into the top of the goal, and nobody is in defense from UWE to save that early enough. And the early kickoff is going to lead another dangerous play, but Jordan clearing his lines, trying to get it over to Incognito. Incognito, big booming clear there. Pads forced into his corner, but forced into it with Sebadam chasing, and that is not who you want to be facing off against in your own corner there.
And we have seen it in that first goal. We have seen it a couple other times throughout the series already. Sometimes UWE find themselves too far up in defense when they're both struggling for boost. And we have seen another double commit, and there's an open net. Arno just needs to tap it in. And that is unfortunate. I don't know. It looked like Incognito was looking to drop it down onto his teammate, but he just couldn't get on top of the ball. And immediate challenge there from the side of Kit SC, and punish following that one up. With a 2-goal lead now, that kind of hurts for UWE.
Yeah, it definitely hurts. And like you say, Incognito looking like he was trying to take that one out, but Mati just challenging really early. And it seems as if every game they've played in so far, they're just adopting a different style. But Incognito trying to force this ball back into the offense. But Arno cutting out early. Pad's trying to drop it down for a passing play, but nobody following that one up. Probably a good idea. Jordan there much earlier than the opposition. This is an open goal, and it's Arno putting it in himself. And that was one of the biggest misplays we are going to see of the entire EURC. Jordan with a massive clear. The miss coming through here from Mati, and Pads and Arno, with the flip in, wasn't looking to hit it at all, was just looking to flip to get the speed to get back in time, but instead puts it in, and UWE have now taken momentum with that, because that is going to have a severe negative mental effect as I say that. Mati coming through with the flip, getting it over one, but can't get it over the final defender. And now UWE back in it thanks to Kit SC. But as I say that, Pads trying to get a flick over. Looked like it could have been an easy goal, but 0 boost from Pads makes it more difficult than need be.
This game is spicing up real fast, dude. I don't know what's going on. Very unfortunate goal there for Kit SC, but yeah, you kind of have to hope for UWE to be able to draw some momentum from that. So far, it doesn't really look like it, though. Kit SC is still the ones trying to dictate the game and are still pressuring UWE defense here. But, I mean, they really need to find that second goal now. I mean, it's still more than enough time, but got to be careful to not let them fall back into defense too far, because that has hurt them so far. And are, again, going for bump and demo plays all over the place.
Yeah, but this time the bumper demo play not quite working well enough. The demo coming through a little bit too early, actually allowing the player to get back on defense with more boost than he had before, which sometimes can be one of the problems you run, but a great shot, and it's a better pass instead. Sebadan with the follow-up, and what looked like a dominant Kit performance for this first 3 minutes of the match. UWE's response has been phenomenal. The pass coming through, it was a shot intentionally, but nevertheless bouncing off into the corner. Sebadan fast to follow up, not allowing any pressure to come off of that defense, and immediately 2-2 stemming from the Kit SC mistake earlier on in this match.
Yeah, you hate to see it, but once again, they're looking for answers on the side of Kit SC. Great toucher from the T. Doesn't really find the target, though. So close on all of these touches. And in the end, it's an even game. But are UWE able to equalize this series? And so far, it kind of looks like, because they really start to increase the pace once again, starting to take control over midfield. And I mean, that's what you want to see. Incognito even increasing the speed there. Great recoveries now from all 3 players on the side of UWE.
Yeah, and UWE just stepping up that little bit more than what they were doing initially. And Sebadan looking to challenge that, but Incognito's going to be there, and it's going towards goal. Come off of the same side post, but this time, Sebadan not there to follow that one up, and play is immediately going towards a counter-attack. It needs to be cleared from Incognito there, and that is massive. But the demo earlier on Arno allows him to be back in defense, making that save. Jordan wants to keep this play alive. They don't want the overtime. They want it to keep going, and it doesn't.
My.
No one on that follow there, drops down immediately in front of that Kit SC goal, and an overtime in game 4.
But we've seen Kit SC having the nerves to win these overtimes in game 1 as well. And this game kind of reminds me of game 1. You said it earlier. Strong start from Kit SC, and then just a great adaptation from UWE making it. Oh my.
Yeah, the bump coming through again here, and it's just a pressure, and a single man on the defense in Incognito, and he's going to look to try and put it over Arno. Can't do it. Sebadan needs to take control of this one, challenged early by Arno, and now it's Kit SC trying to put on all of the pressure. It's just going in front of this UWE side, and as Incognito takes it out, a single man in defense from Mati, and challenged early by Sebadan, trying to get the bounce shot in, but Arno again challenging that one, and it's a great challenge, taking control onto his roof. Jordan looking to challenge early. Pads needs to get this clear on his own corner, but doesn't do so. Arno there in the midfield to cut down any play, and this is as intense as we expected it to see from this series.
Oh, I was muted once again. Mati once again up very early there. They could have spelled disaster for Kit SC, but he just finds the redirect. No, it's Arno, but what an insane redirect from Arno after this pass from Pats. I mean, he's basically all by himself. He has all the time in the world, but to be able to go back to that ball, find that touch, that's just beautiful.
Yeah, that is an insane redirect. I know you already said it. Arno coming from behind Jordan there. Jordan, no momentum going forward. Stood still, unfortunately for him. You cannot gain momentum from just standing still. Makes the jump. Looks like he's getting the clear. Can see Arno coming right in front of him. And by that point, it is too late. And the fantastic redirect taking the series at the moment. 3-1. And I don't like the fact that I'm right. Obviously, as a UK caster, it'd be lovely to see a UK team going through. But I said at the start that Kit SC could easily start taking the lead. And if they do so, UWE might not have a response quickly enough. They are now forced to try and get 3 series on the bounce to try and keep in this. And I don't know if they're capable of doing so. But credit to them, they've been playing fantastic so far, and any team can win this. It looked like UWE's to take, and KSC coming out of nowhere. Arno looked like he was completely out of the play. It looked like the potential for the counterattack was there for UWE. It never looked like KSC was going to be taking that, but Arno, such mechanical prowess there, able to take that. And in this series, we now see KSC 1 game away from progressing through to what could potentially be, if Berlin win, an all-German final.
Yeah, you hate to see it. I gotta say that as a German. But then again, it's just incredible how these teams have been playing so far. And I mean, this game still is, this series is just so competitive. You can really feel the pressure on both sides. But I just hope for UWE to at least give us a game 6 here.
Yeah, I think considering how well they've all played, a game 6 or 7 is at least what should be on the cards here. And a good pass from Jordan, a good pass from Sebadam as well. Incognito following that one up, but Jordan has to back off through lack of boost there. And Arno's going to look to take the corner boost and get the pass in, missing the ball completely. But Sebadam pre-jumping him, expecting the shot to come through, or at least the pass. And Sebadam now forced to try and clear the lines. Jordan behind him just to back him up on that one.
But once again, great positioning from Kidasi. What a great dribble there from Mati. Gets interrupted by Sebadam, though. He has enough of that. And once again, Kidasi already positioning in a way that they can challenge these balls as soon as possible, trying to get control over midfield. So far, it has worked out, but they are basically giving over some space to UWE now, and they really need to make use of that.
Yeah, they really do. And honestly, it looks as if now KSC are going to take the lead. A good dunk coming through from Arno. Pads with the hit. Incognito, a dunk over Jordan. Jordan stands no chance there of saving that one, too slow to the ball. And I was just about to comment on the fact that KSC have kept a man back through almost this entire game so far. They are not allowing any counter-attacking plays to come through, but Mati with the shot again, and immediately, as we're talking, 2 goals to the good for Kit SC. It comes off of the kickoff, pushing it to the left-hand side, Mati onto the back wall, and up sooner than any of the defense can be for UWE, and Kit FC has started this game dominantly.
That is just insane. The speed on Mati there, coming from his own half, is just so dominant there. As you said, he's able to get to the ball before any defender could, even though he basically had the longest way to get there. But just such a great follow-up from him, and it looks like UWE are being caught off guard more often than they would like to.
Yeah, and Pad's trying to get the block on here. Sebadam able to do so, not letting her get any possession on that ball. And a good infield pass there to Jordan, but it's gone high off the backboard, and Pad's able to get this clear, but allowing it to go to Mati instead. Clearly not having the position. No, Mati is in the better one, and Pad's just getting a little doink. Not sure if it was intentional, but even so, relieving the pressure. And she's going to be going for a shot now. Instead, pass off of the backboard, and this could be 3 goals, but instead cut out by Sebadam, and Jordan up early, and this is a counter-attack they didn't want to be happening. But Incognito baiting out both defenders, and the fake of the century from Incognito coming through there. I'm not sure if it stemmed from having a lack of boost, instead just opts to not challenge at all, and Sebadam coming through there, and that was completely against the runner play and not what we were expecting at all.
And that's a second major slip-up from Makita C in defense. So far, it hasn't really cost them the series, but yeah, it looks a bit awkward, and of course, it's a sign that they are definitely not perfect in defense, especially. They are punishable, but this is such a great passing play between Jordan and Sebadam.
Yeah, it really was. And that mild pre-flip from Sebadam there, just enough to get him in position to score that goal. He knew he couldn't get it any other way. And even with a man on defense, Mati just not expecting the sheer power and prowess from Sebadam's attack there to come through, and we are going into an equal game, and a good little fake out there from Jordan, but no boost in the corner. It is going to leave him boostless, trying to chase this back. Incognito also boostless, and this is not the position you want to be in as UWE, but Sebadam doesn't care, and Jordan with the follow-up can't get it on target. Incognito getting the play, and Sebadam is looking to keep this alive, and now UWE, the tides have turned. They are taking the aggression to Kit SC.
This is just so close, and crucial touch there from Incognito to block that ball away. And it's still 1 minute and 45 seconds left. There's just so much time still in this series, in this game. I mean, and both teams are really trying to put the pressure on now in offense, but they don't want to overcommit as well. It's just a small, oh, great bump. Small line between too much pressure and not enough pressure. And Sebadam finds another one, 3-2.
And this all credit here does not go to Sebadam. All credit there goes to Jordan. That bump took out the final defender in that play. Absolutely pivotal decision to make there for him. Taking Kit SC's tactic from game 2 and completely turning it against them. But an early kickoff could lead to a goal. Mati needs to find it. And now a counter-attacking opportunity, but Pads will be there to get the clear. Sebadam following up, and this is a good follow and a flip in the wrong direction from Arno, but the pressure not coming through from UWE, and Kit SC are allowed to go on and attack themselves.
Oh my. Crucial touch there from Sebadam as well. Challenging Arno as soon as possible, and another whiff. Oh, this is crucial. I think it was Pats. Was it Pats? I don't know. With the whiff there being the last defender, it looks like a ghost hit even. Mati not in time to get there, but that could even be it for this game 5.
Yeah, and Pads, I don't think she was expected to be missing that at all. That's one of those things that at this kind of level of play should be easy, but a beautiful bump down, and Jordan can't get the goal. That would have been a beautiful highlight to have for him, but saved off of the line, and it's unbelievable there. Absolutely critical save. Looked like it was in, and Incognito forced to try and get this out again. Gonna do so, and this is where play develops more. Looking for the bump onto Arno. Arno straight back into center for Mati, and Mati with a shot, but shut down by Jordan there, and attack still coming through as Pads tries to put on a shot. Sebadam looking to challenge Arno, gets it into towards the corner, and as the clock ticks down, it looks like UWE, after being 2-0 down at the start of this game and being absolutely demolished, is going to take the victory in this game, 4-2, to take this series to 3-2 in games.
What a great sign of moral strength here from UWE, being able to once again come back into a game. I think they've done this 3 times now. I mean, they lost 2 overtimes, but then again, they still managed to come back into these games, and finally able to also win one where they have to come back from a 2-goal deficit. But man, this is just, I mean, it's been 2 flip-ups there in defense for Kit SC as well, but still, the way that UWE is able to finally increase the pace of the game, to be able to go for these quick transitions from defense into offense, it's just been phenomenal. And if they can continue like that, we can take this to game 7. This is just still such a close series, and it looks like these small mistakes, especially defense, are what makes or breaks the game for either team.
Yeah, it really is. And obviously, it's fair to say Kit SC at no point during that first maybe 2 minutes of the match looked like they were giving up an inch of space to UWE Sea Stags. But UWE don't need somebody to make space for them. They make their own space, and they did so perfectly. We saw the bump coming through from Kit SC. We saw the speed, we saw the power, we saw the boost steals. We saw everything that UWE needed to do against Kit SC in the latter half of that game. We saw them doing it, and that is just something you want to see from these final 4 teams. We did not want to see a shutout from any side, and the first 2 games we saw them trading, KitSC taking 3-1 in games, and then UWE Stag, the response from them has been unbelievable. These games have been so even, so fair, that what we have left to see is going to be phenomenal, as we see UWE Stag starting off early and Mati just dropping it down, trying to relieve pressure. 0 boost though, and taking himself completely out of the play, and this is not what you want to do early on, but Arno, a good clear, but Sebadam obviously up so early into the corner, but Mati again just clearing the lines, but no boost from him again is going to leave a relatively open goal, and Pads needs not to worry here, but Sebadam through with the follow-up, and 1 goal to the good in 25 seconds for UWE Stags. We were talking about how dominant they've been at the start of this game. The first demo coming through onto Arno, so crucial, taking out a key defender. Pads not able to get a good 50, and Sebadam with the follow. 1-0 to the good, 25 seconds in, and UWE Stags have every right to be taking this early victory.
Yeah, giving them a taste of their own medicine there. Wonderful bump and demo plays now coming out from UWE. They're really trying to create these opportunities, and it is what creates this pressure in KitSC defense that they're not really used to, that they often can't handle as well, and they have to keep this up as UWE if they want to make this a game 7.
Yeah, and Sebadam cutting out early in the center field. He is not willing to let this go towards their backfield. His rotations have been somewhat cutting, as we just saw there, and it's damaging. And a great pass from Sebadam coming through from Jordan. I was literally just talking about how he's not rotating onto defense. Immediately turns once he picks up that mid boost, flicking it into the side post, almost saving Jordan's shot. Fortunately for him, Jordan following it through with a flick, gets the second touch, and at the moment, UWE just over a minute in are dominating KitSC.
That was so close. Oh my, wait, what? What was happening?
What has happened there?
How did Mati not hit that one? I mean, it was a huge whiff in defense, but Mati going for some sort of pinch there, and he doesn't find the target. That is so close.
Yeah, and this now is just showing the chinks in the armor on the side of KitSC. Their impatience now showing a little bit. They are rushing the plays that they don't need to rush. It's going to get taken over to the side, probably met by Sebadam quite early. Again, cutting out that play from developing towards their own half. He doesn't want to risk what just happened in that first portion of that last minute or so, and Jordan trying to get a pinch into center. Arno with a good clear, but again, Sebadam is going to be forced chasing, and it's not going to be quickly enough, as no one in defense for UWE, and an easy goal coming the way of KitSC. No one even really knows what happens there. Good little pre-flip from the side wall from Pads, and Pads able to get it into an open net. Incognito and Sebadam, neither one predicting that she'd get such a great touch into center, and it's a great goal. 2 goals to 1 in this 6th game, and it is anyone's now.
Oh, absolutely. Just great transition once again from defense into offense. These touches, these clears from KitSC have really been on point, and if they can able to immediately transition that, the UWE find themselves in a lot of dire situations there in defense, and they got to be careful. They got to probably keep that man back to defend that one in Pets. I don't even know. Wait, how did you get another shot there?
So Sebadam trying to pinch it with the top, and Pads with the follow-up after Arno's initial shot. Sebadam looked like he would be able to get the second save there, but even for somebody of his caliber, you cannot recover that quickly, and Pads ties up the game. 2 goals apiece, and a slow hit out by Jordan there is going to leave him in a bit of a risky situation, but Mati not with a great touch, and Incognito might be there to hit it, but leaves it, and the bump up, and Sebadam might look to follow, allows Mati to get the hit so that the play can keep developing, and this is dangerous now. 2 double commits back to back on the side of KitSC, and this ball is not leaving this area.
Not at all, and we see it. There's not another boost on the side of KitSC either. And UWE immediately rotating to these boost pads, collecting them and creating more pressure now. Gets another boost steal there for Sebadam. Crucial. Not a lot to work with there for KitSC.
And a miss from Mati, and the follow-up a little slow. Sebadam will follow this one up though, but can't get the hit. He even expected the miss there. Manages to somehow get the 100 boost still. Going to be happy with that because it really slows down the attack and aggression from Kit SC. That would have been risky, but a bad pass infield and almost a forced own goal there coming the way of Incognito, and Arno needs to take this out and nobody can relieve the pressure here from Kit SC. The defense is sloppy, but Pads with a good block onto Sebadam, and now the play comes through. Good pass center, but Arno turning away, not expecting Pads to get such a good 50, and that is a bit of distrust coming through on offense there, but Pads getting the miss. Arno's going to clear it sideways, gets the second touch just to clear it back upfield, but limited boost is going to leave him with a good chance, and it's not finding the target, and Kit SC taking it back to UWE as Mati goes for the dunk, but not able to find it. Jordan with a great touch there, great 50 out, but now we saw all the pressure going the way of Kit SC in these past probably 30 seconds. It just hasn't looked like UWE are able to clear this ball out.
Yeah, they basically just adapted to what UWE has been doing to them earlier, going for these boost starts. There's no boost at all on the side of UWE. Kit SC have been getting them all. Incognito looks like he's finally able to get a high touch there, but it's not really the best. And Sebadam with little to no boost as well might be able to get that mid boost now and finally alleviate some pressure.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, gets the mid boost and gets the demo. That takes a man out of defense, but Pads could have left that for Mati. And now that she hasn't, we're seeing a risky counter attack coming through. Sebadam will look to put it down, doesn't, instead fakes it. The opportunity coming through, and Incognito not finding the target, but it's off of the back wall. Pads needs the touch, gets it, and Jordan cannot get any touch there as the clock ticks down. Overtime in the 6th game of the series.
Another one. This has been so close, and so far I think Kit SC have been winning every overtime, but this could be the first, and this has to be the first for UWE if they want to force us into a Game 7.
Yeah, and I obviously don't want to be right about the prediction on games. I said 4-2 to Kit SC. I'd really kind of like UWE to pull something back here, but a bit of a defensive mistake is going to leave the open goal practically for Pads. Places it perfectly into the side there. UWE had every opportunity, but the misplay on defense from Jordan and Sebadam, even though Sebadam is positioned perfectly into that corner, Pads finding the only position he can't save from. And that was a great performance from Kit SC, a great performance from UWE. But unfortunately for them, we wave bye-bye to UWE Sea Stags. Kit SC progressing through to the finals, the first team to do so, and a 4-2 victory in what has been a great first series of the day.
UK's last hope is gone as well now. No hope left for UK. That is just sad to see. I mean, as credits to Kit SC because they played phenomenally in the course of this series, but still, UWE, it looks like they were always able to fight themselves back into the series or into these clutch games and maybe sort of beat themselves there in the end. I mean, it looked a bit shaky in defense in that last overtime, unfortunately for them, but nevertheless, a great run in EURC, of course. Placing in the top 4, I guess nobody would have expected them to do so.
Yeah, and that's just it. I think it's credit to Kit SC because we saw it in Game 5 where Kit SC dominated the first maybe 2 minutes and UWE pulled it back and they absolutely dominated. And then we saw the complete reverse happen from Kit SC there. UWE, the first minute and a half, they didn't look like they were even in the same league there. UWE were outpacing them, outclassing them at every opportunity. And Kit SC, they didn't even do anything fancy to their playstyle. They just remained as consistent as they started. And UWE initially had made them look like they started that game bad. They hadn't. It's just UWE started so strong. UWE weren't able to keep up that momentum, and it's what in kind of led to this decision, this break of Kit SC just saying, you know, we're not going to change anything. We'll let them keep playing at this speed because there is only so long a team can keep up that amount of speed when the boost is being taken from you. And eventually Kit SC just started taking a few more boost pads that weren't really that noticeable in the game, but it was to the UWE offense and defense. And it forced a lot of double commits to come out. It forced a triple commit, I think, at one point as well to come the way of UWE. And obviously the misplay in defense in overtime. But KSC, credit to them, able to hold their nerve in overtime better than I think most teams we've seen in this entire EURC so far. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they could be on a near 100% record for overtime games won. And that is something spectacular to actually have. It's something that not many people get credit for, not many people even take notice of. But even in that game there, 3 overtimes in total and 3 overtimes taken by KSC. They were dominant when it mattered, and it's what's led to their goal. And it's a shame, you never like to see anybody going out of these, but obviously one team has to win at the end of the day, and in this case it just wasn't meant to be for UWE. But credit to them, they tried their hardest, they tried their best. I don't think there's much more they could have done, really.
No, not really. I mean, yeah, as I said earlier, it basically came down to these small little things that KSC have just been able to do consistently better than UWE. But still, it was such a close series. I mean, even the fact that it went to 3 overtimes in total, it just shows how close this series was. And in the end, KSC the ones that were able to pull through and reach the finals. I mean, that we got to remember, we're talking about finals now. So we got our first team set for the EURC 2020 final, being KSC. And we said it earlier, it could mean an all-German final for EURC. Nobody really expected that, I believe, when EURC started this year. But, I mean, Groningen will have a word in that, but I guess we'll be talking about that after a short break, and we will have another guest, of course, on the show. So Juicy will be joining us to talk about Groningen a little more and about their chances of beating Berlin Phoenix, I guess. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after 5 minutes.
Keeping you in the right direction, no matter how your confidence may fall, I'll be here as your foundation. And I say, hey, yo, just let it go. Your struggles won't remain. And I say, hey, yo, we're holding hope and wake up yesterday. So hold on to me. Hold on to me. Hold on to me.
Gave you too much, now I'm swallowed. Now I'm the fool while you're breaking rules. Dangerous path that I follow. Oh, go on, just do what you do. And it hurts as I bleed for you, cry for you. Oh,
Welcome back to EURC 2020 semifinals. We've just witnessed an incredibly competitive match between UWE Sea-Stacks and Kiddersi Lawnmowers, where the Germans came out clutch with a 4-2 victory. Now we're on to our second semifinal. I'm Crafty. I'm still joined by Kiltsink, and we are also joined by Juicy now. And he's potentially going to answer the question whether this match, Berlin versus Groningen, is that sort of David versus Goliath kind of match or not, I guess. Welcome, Juicy.
Thank you for having me. As for David versus Goliath, I think that is an understatement for how big the discrepancy between these teams might look. Yeah,
definitely. So obviously we've seen the run that Fair Play had. Now it's fair to say in the 32-team group stage, they went immediately into the lower bracket. And in the lower bracket, 3-2 Sussex Sharks, 3-2 Brighton Babes. And then obviously they get through to the round of 16, and we're expecting, this team, they've shown a little bit of struggle. Maybe we're not expecting them to go through here. And then somehow, miraculously, they don't just get through, they get through after losing 3-0 and getting swept by Portsmouth. They then go on to sweep Bath Salts and reverse sweep Lancers A. And then they get through to this stage, and obviously we're now thinking, okay, right, these guys, they're going out now, surely. Like, they've got absolutely no chance of winning this one. And then in complete opposite fashion to the way they've played, they go and sweep Nottingham Trent, who has gone through the winners bracket. So this team, they're just unbelievably precise when it comes to making plays when it matters.
Yeah.
But we've seen that throughout this entire thing. They almost thrive under the pressure where most teams don't.
and that is exactly what it is, because those 3-2s that you're calling out, yes, they're 3-2s, but they're not just 3-2s. All of them were reverse sweeps.
Yep.
So their second week, in which it was do or die, they reverse swept Sussex Sharks and then went on to reverse sweep Brighton Babes twice in a row in order to stay in the tournament. Every single game they've had so far has been a sweep, either a sweep for them or a reverse sweep.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, can't be any more clutch than that, I guess. But yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier, and Juicy, I mean, you said, especially when looking at this previous run so far, I mean, and the games that they've played, is there even? I mean, of course there must be, but how big are the chances for Groningen to actually pull off the upset and to beat Berlin Phoenix, given what they've shown so far in EURC 2020?
Well, that's the thing. If you did not include that second part of your questions in the question, I would have said none. But given how they've done it so far, every single week, we expected, and that's not just me, that is everyone that watches EURC, they expected Groningen to go down, and every single time, they've clawed themselves back. And obviously Berlin, tournament favourites, we've talked about them time and time again, but Groningen, there's something there. They've got this magic, maybe it's a little bit of luck on their side, they've got an angel on their goalpost, I don't know what it is, but it's working for them every single series, and who's to say it won't work in this one?
Yeah, and obviously you make a good point of how they've swept or been reverse swept every single game they've been in. Now, I'm just putting it out there. I think this might be the first game in which that probably doesn't happen. If it's going to be a series like that, it'll probably be a bit closer. If Groningen managed to sweep Berlin here, I will never have predicted that, and I don't think anybody else out there would have predicted it. I think Tigray, Nakflo, and just those two in general would have to just turn off their PCs and just not play, just period. And that's not to rule out Hyrule. Hyrule, obviously a great player coming in. We saw Dot playing earlier on, but then Hyrule coming in and really taking that third man spot so well. But realistically, something would have to have gone dramatically wrong for this to be a sweep to Groningen. A reverse sweep seems almost as unlikely because it requires still four games on the trot from this team. Now, it's worth noting that Berlin Phoenix have swept every single team they've played except Kit SC, who they beat 3-1. Now, Kit SC have just come off of the back of a dominant performance. A Berlin Kit SC final almost seems destined in the hope that Kit SC can pull back that loss that they had earlier on in this EURC. But that being said, do you, Juicy, honestly believe that Groningen playing at their best and Berlin playing at their best, that Groningen would have any opportunity to win this game?
It's going to be super, super, super tough, but I can definitely see them taking some games off of Berlin. In all honesty, I do not see them winning it in the end, but I do see them picking up a few wins here and there, and that's mainly because of Face and his massive brain. He's always playing as Coach Face. He does a lot of coaching, and he's super good at adapting on the fly, and that is what you need in these type of games. Like all the reverse sweeps, they're changing up their play style, they're changing up what they're doing. I talked to him, and for example, like against the Lankers, they were trying to play very quick and just basically brain dead, go for every single ball, and then they figured out, okay, hey, wait, this isn't really working, and he started to play slightly more defensive, letting his teammates kind of get that offensive role going when he stayed slightly further back, and then rather than booming it upfield, he actually took his time and went for dribbles. And I think that kind of adaptability and that kind of being able to change up your play style and catch your opponents off guard is what can be the edge in these type of games. But then, yes, of course, you're playing Nakflo and you're playing T-Crow, who know how people can adapt, and it's going to be harder against them than any other team they've faced before.
Yeah, but I mean, that catching people off guard is probably one of the most important things that we have to look out for in this series, because the Dutch teams consistently have been able to do that. I mean, even teams like Dorans have made an incredible run in this EURC campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is something we could totally see in this game as well. Will it be enough to win the whole series? I don't think so, but it could definitely be enough to get a few wins and to maybe expose some of Berlin's weaknesses that haven't been able to be exposed by other teams so far.
Yeah, and I think what's fair to note is obviously, you said it a second ago, Juicy. Face is a coach. Face knows how to analyze replays, how to look at how a team plays, and how to break that down. And I think if Groningen are going to stand any chance, that is exactly what Groningen are going to have to do. They're going to have to analyze how Berlin play, because if I'm honest, I think the first game, it's fair to say, is likely to go the way of Berlin, because Groningen have mostly been that team that counter a way a team is playing. Now, Berlin, we've seen them play it almost the same way every single time. It's just that same way happens to be faster and better than the teams they've currently played. And that's not a biased opinion. Every single game being a sweep with only one team taking a game off of them kind of shows the dominance that they're playing at. It's not unfair to say that realistically they're likely to come out on top, because having dropped only one game in, I think, about 8 that they've played now, is an unreal statistic. Like that is better than any other team have done, period. And no one really expects that to be challenged. But Groningen have been the only team that I have personally witnessed that is able to analyze another team in game, mid-series, and come out with a completely different playstyle that counters the way a team is playing. And that's a rarity, and that obviously could be contributed to Coach Face being a coach. But that is going to have to be the case here if they're going to take the victory over Berlin. But I mean, Juicy, I don't know what way you're swinging. Are you swinging towards Berlin here, or are you swinging towards Groningen?
I'm just gonna go for Groningen anyway, because I'm way too proud to say that Berlin's gonna win. But yeah, so take it with a grain of salt. But I think the clutch factor, once again, is just something that should not go overlooked at all. And I think, for example, me as Erasmus last week, until last week we hadn't dropped a single game yet. We did not go to the lowers, and then a very strong kit kicked us out. And I think that is also something. This is the final stages. There's no more losses now. If you lose, you're out. And that has been the moment when Groningen absolutely shines, when they've got nothing to lose, because no one expects anything from them. They've got nothing to lose. They could just go out, play the game, go 3 games down, nobody expected even less from them, and then suddenly you've lost 4 games to them and they've won.
Yeah, and obviously both of these teams coming off the back of 4-0 sweeps. That's worth noting because both of these teams have momentum. It's not as if either one here has more momentum than the other. Both of them are coming out of 4-0 sweeps. That is something that in the quarterfinals of an entire tournament where you've had 64 teams qualify, that is not something you expect. You don't expect any teams at that stage to be 4-0'd because every team in it should realistically be capable of winning it all. So to be 4-0 swept, you'd say realistically that whoever goes through here statistically has the better chance of winning overall, because this is the game that is the deciding factor on who drops the most amount of games in this series. And I'm not sure if we've got every player in the game at the moment. So I'm not sure if we'll need to delay ever so slightly there, but I think, Crafty, could you give us a bit more information?
Yeah, I mean,
on that,
we're still waiting for Timotheus. He's just come back. We could say one small thing. Community, surprisingly so, things that only 57% of the chat think that Berlin is going to win, and that is incredibly close. It's even closer than the last game. So that is somewhat of a surprise.
I think our Dutch community has
the community stands
been with numbers every single week in, week out. We've almost watched every single game together. So I think they're out there in Twitch chat voting for Groningen to win.
Right,
yeah, so they should. I think although a Berlin victory is expected, I think at the moment everybody wants the underdogs to win because this Groningen team has pulled off arguably the best EURC set of performances we've seen, especially with all of the reverse sweeps they've done. To come back from behind that many times, unreal. So I think without further ado, thank you so much, Juicy, for joining us there. Great little bit of insight that we've had to both teams. And without further ado, Crafty, if you're ready, I think we should get into this match and begin the first game of the series. And this is one of the matches to watch right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Berlin already coming in as the tournament favorite and finding themselves in this in the semifinal, against a team that has surprised everybody. I mean, that is just so hype, and I'm so excited to see whether Groningen will be able to put up a great fight and even maybe pull out the upset.
Yeah, and early on, Coach Face going for the pass into center, but being met immediately by High Roll, and Coke is going for the pass upfield, and it's a good pass up. Nagflow not quite expecting that bounce, I don't think. They're trying to get it over to High Roll, does so, but Coach Face there immediately to shut that down, and Tigri getting a nice block. XK going up, but Nagflow again up early, and the slight overcommit, shall we say, there from this Groningen team is going to be what might be the deciding factor. Tigri putting it high. Coach Face needs to get this, and a good drop down just over the top, and Nagflow takes away the pressure there, and chasing behind Berlin now start going back, but immediately getting that attempted counter-attack. Tigri with the shot, XK with the save, and Nagflow still trying to keep that pressure on. It's going to be an early shot going the way of Tigri, but he cannot find the target with that one. And XK just taking his time, slowing it down this play, and it almost feels like that's the decision that's been made. But Groningen with a good early opportunity as well. Timotheus trying to put it back center. Coach Face with the attempted redirect, not able to get it, in a bump from Timotheus onto Nagflow, and XK trying to clear it back towards Coach Face to leave it upfield, and this is where it's going to be challenged early. Tigri looking for the second, looking for the third, trying to drop it behind, but Coach Face there to clear out that ball.
That was just incredibly close there, and two posts save the goal, but Tigre finds the follow-up and gets the first goal of the game. I was about to say they slowed it down a bit, but then immediately punished my words, and Tigre with the great reaction to that ball.
Yeah, and this is what they do. They just punish every sort of mistake that's going to be made, and that is something that they cannot afford to do this game, as we just saw there. What a great redirect there from High Roll, and I don't think anybody expected that one. Tigri passing it in, and High Roll actually goes for the shot there. Almost looks like he's trying to get a pass in. It doesn't matter. Squeezes into the inside post. 2-0 up with only a minute 40 gone on the clock, and that's an unbelievable goal there.
I mean, I was I was looking at that and I was even wondering, what is Hyrule doing that far up in that situation? But he just receives this clinical pass into the corner and an even more clinical finish. And Nakflo about to almost make this 3 goals for Berlin. And when it looked like it was an even game at the start of this, it's just been all Berlin Phoenix now.
Yeah, it really has. And as you say, it did look like it was starting off early, but now Berlin just coming through with constant pass plays as we see another going towards center. Timotheus there to clear it, but it's cleared straight into the path of Nagflo, who is not wasting any time getting that ball back into the offense for Berlin. It's gone center. This is going to be another Tigray shot. Baits out Timotheus perfectly with that jump there. Sees when he's going to land and gets the flick, knowing he's never going to be capable of getting that back up. But that bait just there is perfect. Flicks it just at the time he's landing. Can't re-jump, and Tigray with the 3rd goal. 2 minutes 35 seconds remaining now, and it is looking all Berlin at this point in time.
Yeah, that's just incredible stuff from Berlin. We've seen now that they have gained control over the game basically, and they're just so fast with these balls, and their patience both in offense and defense is incredible. And it's so hard for Groningen to actually read these and to react to these plays. I mean, we talked about their adaptability, or their ability to adapt in a series, but it's just so hard to adapt to something like Berlin is offering you, because it's just so quick, so fast, and basically every player is a threat on their team.
Yeah, they really are. As Cookie tries to take it over the top, gets a good pass off of the backboard, but Tigray obviously there early, and this counter-attacking opportunity leaving Coach Face by himself up high. A demo from Nagflo, and this has taken a crucial defender out of the play here. Passing it center, Cookie with a big clear, and it's a counter-attack again, but Nagflo up early, putting it into his own corner, looking for the double touch there, gets it, taking it away from an aggressive attack coming through again, and immediately it is currently counter-attack after a counter-attack for both teams, and neither defense letting up now in this past minute of gameplay.
Ooh, crucial miss there from Face, and Tigray once again immediately there with the follow-up, punishing that whiff. That ball just, yeah, they had an awkward drop down in the end, and Face definitely caught off guard there. I don't think he had enough boost anyway to really reach that one, but Tigray just in the right position, and once again, the defensive rotation not fast enough there on the side of Groningen to be able to respond to these passing plays.
Yeah, and this is something that Coach Face is going to be using as an entire match to just look back on. He's going to be sitting back maybe a little bit more now. He needs to see this whole field because he needs to tell his team how to improve, because at this point, it just looks like they're dominating. But Coach Face into the corner, going to look for the pass center, but Nagflo there really early. And the rotations from Berlin here is basically feels like there's always 3 men in defense, but a good block coming through from Coach, and immediately passed back into center for Tigray, who is following up again. And this is what we mean. The rotations are so perfect, so fluid, that there is always a man attacking the passing plays coming through. And Tigray comes from the first shot back round to get the pass back into him. And it is 5 goals to the good here. And this is a domination coming through from Berlin.
You said earlier that Berlin basically has been showing the same playstyle every game, and they just get away with it because they're just too good. But I'm really wondering, I don't think I've ever seen a game where Nagflo hasn't scored a single goal, and it's been all Tigray. Usually it's Tigray, the one passing the ball onto Nagflo. This time it's the other way around, and I don't know if they switched controllers or anything, but that is definitely some switching up in their team play there.
Yeah, definitely. And as this game comes to a close, it's a potential shutout. But Timotheus trying to get the goal, but as the ball drops, like we just say, shut out from Berlin there. 5 goals to the good, and it never looked for a second like Berlin was going to falter. They've got 2 unbelievable players in their team. Obviously, both RLCS worthy players, it's fair to say. They both play at such an incredibly high level, and high role just slots into that team absolutely perfectly. but Groningen will be taking all the time they need right now to analyze what they've been doing, see how they can change the play up, but it just doesn't look like anything they do is working for them at this point in time. Groningen are just that little bit slower to each ball, that little bit less aggressive in attack and in defense, and at the moment Berlin are punishing that with what is absolutely perfect rotations. You commented on the fact that Nagflo hasn't scored. It's more because rotationally, Tigray happens to be the one that's getting the open goal opportunities at this point in time. And even when they're not open, he's making it look like they're open. And that's not taking anything away from Groningen. Actually, they played a relatively good game there, and a game that if they'd come up against Kit SE or UWE in those final ones, they might have actually been able to beat them in a game like that. But against this Berlin team, unbelievably precise and unbelievably calculated. Groningen, I mean, what do you think they've got to do at this point to hold back this barrage that's happening against them?
Yeah, I mean, that is so hard to say. I mean, I think the most important thing is because I don't think they will ever be able to match the speed that Berlin just has in their team with such mechanically and fast players. But what they need to do is get these really long clears in and find counter-attack opportunities. But how do you counter something that is an unkillable demon lord? And Nagflo finds another shot, incredibly precise on that one.
Yeah, he definitely heard you in the break there saying he's getting no goals in, because that was unbelievably perfect position coming through on that shot from a great pass. But high roll, credit to him, the pass infield. Sometimes you do not look for those. And as we say that, Timotheus has the chance to get the first goal for Groningen, but it doesn't come through. And a bait from face there on Tigray. Tigray thinking he's going to hit it, doesn't. But it doesn't matter. Nagflo getting it out, looking for the pre-jump on Timotheus. Is hit, almost gets it. Timotheus is going to look for the double, but Tigray taking it into his corner for high roll to clear out. And it's going to be a good shot, but high roll with the save again. And this time Coach Face with the follow. But again, high roll just getting block after block and keeping the defensive, the defensive positioning going and the defensive plays still remaining.
But what they've found so far is finally establish some control in midfield and getting some boost stars in as well. So not a lot to work with for Berlin at the moment, and that's why they're being held in defense for quite a while now, and that is actually a very good sign for Groningen.
Yeah, really good sign. There's a good shot comes through there from Cookie, but Tigray there to get the block and gets the shot and pass through to Nagflo. And Nagflo was definitely listening because he didn't let that one just go straight in. He wanted the goal. It would have been easy to let go, but 2 goals for Nagflo, and Tigray and Hyrule with 2 great assists coming through, and we're seeing the Berlin we're used to seeing now. Nagflo staying upfield a little bit more, trusting his teammates, and the other 2 feeding to him as a good air dribble comes through from Hyrule there. And again, Nagflo there to try and punish, and Tigray looking to get it center for Nagflo, who's going to be there, but instead baits the team out, gets it behind Cookie, and nothing coming through for them. And this now is just a battering on the offense. As we say that, a triple commit coming through from this Groningen team allows an easy opportunity for Nagflo. He's got a hat trick, a minute and 42 seconds in, and he is making up for his lack of goals in the last game.
Absolutely, he definitely hurt me. But yeah, just when you think, or just when you thought that Groningen was able to regain some control in this game, it just immediately slips away from them, and Berlin are just so relentless when it comes to punishing these mistakes and misplays in defense. And I don't know how Groningen will be able to beat this, to punish this themselves, because they really need a super solid defense, but at the same time they also need to be able to challenge these balls earlier than Berlin are able to. And right now, with the speed that Berlin and the pace that Berlin are creating, I don't think it's possible at the moment.
No, and as we say that, an attempted pass coming through from high roll, and as Tigray clears it out, Cookie's up early, and Coach Face has the chance to get the first goal for them, and instead, a counter-attack coming through, and this is what you can't allow Berlin to do. Tigray from his own half, practically his own goal, scores an easy goal for him. He sees all 3 players overcommit on this Groningen team. 4 goals to the good, and it's an easy open goal. The first unassisted one that Berlin have had this series.
Yeah, I mean, now it's getting from bad to worse. I mean, they of course they have to sort of commit to offensive plays like that now, because they find themselves 3 or 4 goals down respectively, and they haven't really been able to create a lot offensively. But at the same time, it's just so hard. You can't really leave your net exposed like that, because Berlin will immediately punish it and find these opportunities as soon as they present themselves.
Yeah, and at the moment they just are, as Tigray takes it up his own side. He's going to look to pick up that mid boost. In the meantime, does so, gets the flick over, attempted pass in, and this is maybe the first counter attack we see, but a great demo coming through. And again, we see Groningen forced to reset as a team because they just have nobody up their face trying to get the block on, and he's taking himself out of the play. 0 boost to contest with here. A good bump from high roll. Nagflow is going to look to put it center potentially off of that backboard, but instead opts for the 50 with face, and Tigray's going to be there for the follow-up again off of the backboard, but Timotheus this time getting the clear. And again, a rotation so on point from Berlin that it's just attack after attack on that backboard.
Yeah, this is really, really looking dire for them at the moment, and Berlin just keep continuing. They never slow down. Even in a game like this where they 4 goals up, they just keep pressuring you, and they always look for that Brazil, it seems like, at least find these 7 goals, because I mean, they could just slow down now, play solid defense, and go next game, but they don't want to. They want to show off. They are so hungry for more goals, hungry for success.
Yeah, and as we see that little flick over from Timotheus, but again, challenged before it even becomes a problem here. And Cookie just allowing Tigray to try and make that play. He knows he's capable of getting it. Sustaining goal is the best opportunity, and the first real opportunity coming the way of Groningen, and they just can't convert. I know I've said that there's been opportunities before, but that was the first one with an open goal, and that may be the first little display of problems that we've seen Berlin show so far. And I don't know if Face would have picked up on that. Maybe he will have, but maybe he won't. But I don't think it matters anyway. 4-0, and another game potentially shut out here as Groningen still struggle to get their first goal on that board. And it is unbelievable. This game is just going again and again in favor for Berlin. Their rotations are there, their plays are there, the boost is there as well, and it is just dominant from this Berlin team right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they manage to completely shut out Groningen through the entirety of this season, this series, that would be insane. I mean, I still have some hopes for Groningen. But they really need to work out how they can sort out communication and defense, because any double commit that will happen will immediately be punished and basically results in a goal, or at least a very good goal scoring opportunity for Berlin. So they need to sort that out, make no double commits happen. And then, I mean, they basically have to overperform. We already knew that when we came into this series, but their especially their touches and defense have to be super precise, super clear. They need to make the ball at least cross midfield to be able to alleviate pressure, to reset, gain control themselves. And so far, it's not really been working out. And I mean, I'm not putting it against them, because it's just so incredibly hard to do when you're playing against a team like Berlin Phoenix.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I was always excited to watch this match. Both teams coming off of that 4-0 sweep, as we said at the start. I'm even more excited now because Groningen can only improve from where they're currently playing. Berlin at the moment, 2 games as a shutout. And this is the opportunity for Groningen to really show us the name they've got for themselves. They've reversed swept in so many matches that if they do it against Berlin Phoenix, this will go down in history regardless. It might not be RLRS, it might not be RLCS, but if they can pull off a reverse sweep here, this will be going in so many different YouTube videos. It's unbelievable because these guys, at no point did anyone really expect them to trash. So if they reverse sweep, I would love to see it. I think everybody would love to see it at this point. It would just stick with the flow of what they are currently doing. Groningen, they're almost allowing Berlin to gain that confidence, to gain the trust that they're just going to win, that now they have every opportunity to catch them on some counterattacks, because we might see Berlin Phoenix, especially going in to game 3, we might see them going for a few more fancy plays which could catch them off guard and out of position. That's the kind of thing that I think at this point Groningen will be hoping they do. But Berlin, they've got 2, well, pretty, like we say, RLCS basically players. Let's just put it that way. They've definitely obviously got the one, but having those caliber of players, that's the kind of thing they don't give into. That's why they are where they are. So if Groningen are looking to do that, they're going to have to do it playing at the same speed, same pace, same aggressive responses that Berlin are currently playing at.
I mean, and the reason why a team like KTC has been able to sort of challenge them in the past, being in regular season, Uniliga, or in EURC, where they at least took a game away from them, it has been because they were able to sort of match that speed, and because they went for very high risk plays where they just challenged them over and over again, where they went for all the aerial challenges in midfield, especially not allowing them to establish any sort of passing play, not allowing them to get the ball to the backboard even. And to be able to do that, I mean, you have to be incredibly well performing in a game like this, and it's so hard to do. But if Groningen can find that opportunity, they have to be able to use it immediately. Okay, I guess we have to also reset the lobby, so this is going to take a little while, a little longer, but I guess we'll be right back with game 3. But yes, as I said, the other possibility would be to really destroy their whole gameplay by going for physical plays, maybe finding these bumps and demos onto Tigray, especially, who's sort of that in the same role as Sabadam in UWE. Even though, of course, Nagflow and Hyrule are outstanding players, it feels like Tigray creates a lot of these opportunities. He's often the first to touch a ball in defense, or to get a good clear in, or finding that infield pass. So to sort of disrupt that rotation could potentially help them, but as well, to be able to demo or bump someone that is just incredibly fast when it comes to rotations, you have to be incredibly fast yourself. So it always comes down to speed, and as long as Groningen is not able to match that, it's going to be super hard.
Yeah, and like you say, it is matching the speed that's the problem, because the precision of the rotations from Berlin means that they are instantly taking every boost that they're coming across. The ones that are most important to Groningen to rotate out, they're the ones that are being used as well. They're the ones that are being stolen right out of the noses of Groningen, and it's just forcing them to be stuck in certain positions, whether that's stuck in midfield, stuck in defense, and sometimes they're being forced up and then immediately can't track back. And that is something that they're going to have to fix at this point in time. But like you say, trying to take out somebody like Tigray is crucial, because he is the glue. And you've said it before, Nagflow, Hyrule, great players. But last game, we saw Nagflow coming in with the majority of the goals. The first game, we saw Tigray coming through with the majority of the goals. And now it's Hyrule's chance to take it. But I think all players are now in the lobby. We're all ready to go. So we're going to be seeing now what is arguably a completely different Groningen than we needed to see in the first 2, because it's just been problematic.
Yeah, what has Coach FaZe been cooking up in this pause? We'll see. I hope it's something spicy.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be, as we see Hyrule taking it out to the side. Timotheus challenging a lot earlier than we've seen them challenge so far. And FaZe again challenging really early. And the first double commit, it needs to be said, from Nagflow and Tigray coming through. But it doesn't really matter. The pressure's still on the defense. But Cookie getting it immediately out and gets a flick over. And this now is the perfect opportunity, and almost dunk on Nagflow. And now the counter-attack there. And this is where the problems come through. And immediately we see a dangerous attack coming through from Groningen. And the counter-attack creates the perfect opportunity. Tigray chasing Face there, not allowing him to get back into defense, and Nagflo with a practically open goal to shoot at. And 1-0 early on after what looked like a great start from Groningen, but they just could not get back in defense after giving such an aggressive outfield performance. As we say that, Tigray with the shot coming through, and this again is risky, and as we say it, Nagflo, second goal, 51 seconds, and this was just a ridiculously fast response right here from this Berlin team. They saw Groningen come out of the gate so fast and immediately just said, no, that's us, that's our play style. Back off, we're going faster.
Yeah, that is just, I mean, even, it's almost so sad to see, but great opportunities, great start from Groningen, but Berlin are just immediately there to react. And you said it earlier, the bombs, the transition from defense to offense, it's just when they see there is an opportunity, they will find it and they will use it to their advantage immediately. And Groningen now find themselves in a situation where, yes, they're 2 goals down, so they have to play offensively, they have to play aggressively to even be able to get back into this game, as we see Nagflo with an incredible double touch almost finding that goal again. But at the same time, Groningen now has to play a lot more defensively because you can really feel the pressure that has arisen once again.
Yeah, you really couldn't. It was actually almost a flip reset double touch there from Nagflo. He did still have his flip, he did use it, but now limited boost, and Cookie needed to go for the bump there, halts instead and allows Nagflo to get the clear, and this is where counterattacks come through for this team. But unfortunately, High Roll can't find the target, but Nagflo on the follow-up can. 3 goals and 3 minutes remaining, and this team is relentless.
Absolutely. Relentless is the word that best describes what's going on here. It's incredibly fast, and once again, all 3 players of Groningen's find themselves on the goal line, but they don't even know how to react because they can't. There's not enough boost, and they're crossing the ball from left to right and right to left, and it's so hard to really intercept any of these passes from Berlin.
It really is, and Nagflo just sat there on the backboard. He is staying there. He does not want to risk a goal going in, coming out of the perfect opportunity, and this is where problems come in. Coach Face, good little hit, but High Roll, a great 50 as a double commit comes through from this Groningen team, and an almost great redirect there from High Roll. Not sure entirely how he was planning on doing it, but just causing the pressure is difficult enough for this team. A good pass onto the backboard, but Cookie there to clear that one, and Tigray following again and again and again. Timotheus put in its center. Tigray almost baiting out the opposition there. Nagflo is going to look at taking it over. Cookie gets bumped for his efforts. Timotheus, the only man left in defense, puts it wide, takes the mid boost as well. He's going to try and challenge Tigray here. A relatively decent 50 actually coming out, quite equal, but dropping down in the way of the goal. And this is where we see the counterattacks coming again and again and again. And it might happen a 4th time, but not quite, as the defense is able to hold up again. But Groningen almost feels like they're just wasting their opportunities now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Berlin, even when they give them some space, or at least you think they would give them some space, as we see a great demo there from Tigray almost finding a follow-up, but it's always, they basically leave them no opportunity but to pass the ball into a spot where a Berlin player is already there to answer that, and that makes it so hard to really ever establish some sort of control over the game or some control over the ball even.
Yeah, and that is completely true as a great save comes through from Cookie. Unbelievable, but a pass back into the center is going to leave a relatively open net. Timotheus with the block, and it looked like it was going to be 4-0, and as it stands, I think it's been maybe 5-0, 4-0, 3-0. If they don't get another goal, we could be seeing it again, but it could be another shutout, as it just looks like Groningen are struggling to clear their backlines. As I say, that great pass from Timotheus, a face has left it for Cookie, but the slow follow-up has allowed all 3 defenders from Berlin to get back. Not a great pass there from Cookie. Face forced to challenge up early, and this is going to be a pass into the center for Nagflo, blocked by Tigray, blocked his own player. We saw it in the last series from Sebadam almost blocking Incognito, and now it's coming in to another series here with Tigray actually getting the block on. Not that it mattered though. 3 goals to the good with only 8 seconds remaining. It's not even just done. It's
Oh
impossible
my.
as an almost double touch by High Roll wraps up the game. 4 goals to the good. And if they don't score in these 3 seconds, that is 15 minutes without a single goal scoring opportunity. That's not to say they haven't had shots, they have, but no goals. You have to be making something more of this, and it is unbelievable at the moment. Berlin are showing us why they've swept every single team almost that they've come across, with the exception of Kit SC, and Berlin 4-0. I think they've now scored, 13 goals in total that have all been unanswered, and that is unheard of from any team. It doesn't even matter the difference in MMR, in abilities, in where they play. You normally see at least 1 goal coming through from some misplay somewhere, but Berlin just aren't making any errors.
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, as you said, and this is not just a group stage match or whatever. We're not in the round of 32. We are in the semi-final of EURC. As you said earlier, you would expect any team to at least be able to sort of challenge each other team at this stage of the playoffs. But seeing a team like Berlin being that dominant is just so scary. And honestly, Groningen even at times in this game looked at like their best in the whole series so far, and still they weren't able to really create anything. They had some opportunities, but then it felt like they've sort of lost their trust in each other now, where they didn't follow up on the play, or where they were too hesitant, taking too much time for Berlin to allow to reset themselves. And it just shows that they are not really finding any answers at the moment. But as Kuki just said in chat, they've been in this position before, being down with match point for the enemy team. Now is it time for the reverse sweep?
Yeah, I mean, I'd personally love to see it. If I'm completely honest with you, I'd just love to see Groningen score a goal at this point, because it feels bad for them. And I really want to see it now on Nagflo, but Nagflo isn't going to be beaten by a flick like that. However, Tigray is going to go for the ceiling shot. We're going to see it. He might go for the pass instead. He gets it, and Nagflo pops it up for High Roll, and High Roll trying to get the dunk at least, and can't manage it. And this will be a clear from Nagflo to Tigray. High Roll back into center for Tigray, and Tigray trying to follow that one up with Cookie there early, and Nagflo is going to look to get the ceiling shot, pass, pinch potentially, but Face following it up early. And this is the kind of pressure that they wanted, but again it's just not coming through for them as Tigray tries to get it, almost getting the bump on Timotheus, and Nagflo just slowing down play there, trying to bait out the challenge. And High Roll, no boost to work with, is not going to be able to get any sort of attacking play developing there.
Once again, even in their own half, Groningen find themselves in a position where they often have to give Berlin the space and the time to be able to rotate in the midfield, get the boost to continue their onslaught. And that is so hard to see, because there's no answer for that. And that would have almost been an incredible goal by Tigray, but finally is answered again. But this could very well be it. Just a matter of time until they find the back of the net once again.
Yeah, it really does just feel like a matter of time, like you say. But Timotheus with a good pass center, but Nagflo is going to get an easy clear, and that is a boomer. And Cookie needs to chase, but Face is there to bail him out. And it looked like that could have been a potential goal there, but Cookie's going to get it far and high. Face needs to be able to challenge this. Instead, moves up and really does nothing with it. Cookie with 0 boost, and this is the position they've been in so many times. Takes that corner boost, but cuts rotation there on to Timothy, and this is just not what we're seeing from Berlin, and that is really the difference at the moment. And this is going to be a bait out from Nagflo, but not baited well enough as a defense comes through for the good. Nagflo looking to get it center for High Roll jumping, but Cookie beating him to it. Tigray is going to look to try and get this on the defense. Face almost getting the shot coming through there. Sorry, not Face, Timotheus, but a good pass coming through from High Roll. An attempted pinch onto the corner wall as Nagflo puts it center again. And Cookie with the slow takeout gets a flick on Tigray, and they've taken out one of the best defenders in the game. but High Roll there again to block this. And this is just impossible to break down any of the positions on the field as a great infield pass and Cookie with that clear. And this is just end to end at the moment. And Groningen really are trying to set up for the reverse sweep.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this has been the longest time that they went without conceding a goal, at least in the series. And as I say that, Tigray makes it a 1-goal lead once again. What an incredible control there. What a beautiful read. This is just insane.
Yeah, that is an absolutely beautiful double touch. Reading it off of the two walls is just something not many players can do. But Tigray feathering that boost perfectly, allowing him to stay in the air, stay in the perfect position to get the double touch is unbelievable. Takes out all the defense in the game. And at this point, Groningen do not want to be chasing, but still credit to them. They have held off Berlin now for 3 minutes of that match, and that is something they've failed to do for the rest of this game. So we could see a bit more pressure coming through from them and more of an attack. But Nagflo baiting out Face, allowing him to take more time, wasting this time on the game. And Tigray, a good 50 there, recovers well on the wall, but doesn't opt to go for it again. He's not willing to push up where he doesn't need to. They just want to shut out this game now. And as they do so, Nagflo hitting it high and far. Timothy is slow on the recovery, gets bumped for his efforts. And we're going to see Tigray taking it off the side, looking to go for a double touch off of the backboard. Instead passes infield to High Roll. Not good enough to get past Cookie. And this is Cookie's opportunity to get a good play in. But an air dribble shouldn't beat a team like this. As I say that, almost does. A double commit forced by this Groningen team, but the double commit doesn't matter. High Roll trying to put it center, does so for Nagflo. Nagflo center for Tigray. Tigray to the back corner and can't get it under the crossbar as a goal separates these two teams still with a minute remaining.
This is, I mean, even though it's just 1 goal separating these two, it's just sheer dominance here from coming out from Berlin. And yes, they found some opportunities on the side of Groningen to at least not make this a complete blowout 4-0, 5-0 kind of match, but it feels like whenever Berlin increases the pace, whenever they step up, when you feel like they are finally starting to play serious now, as we see a great break from Cookie, they just are absolutely dominant, and it's still so hard to answer for Groningen.
Yeah, it is a great fake from Cookie, like you said, and then comes back off of the demo to immediately challenge the play in the center field. And he's going to look to try and get it center, and that's a good pass, but Tigray there to cut out the play. And with 10 seconds left, Groningen need a miracle at the moment, but a good pass center, and this is the opportunity of a lifetime, and they just cannot score as Berlin completely shut out Groningen. 4 goals on the trot and no goals 4 games on the trot, no goals conceded as Berlin go through to the finals against the only team that's taken a game off of them so far. And this is almost a final we wanted to see, and Kit SC have something to prove now.
Absolutely. These two teams already met in the Uniliga finals where Kit SC got absolutely destroyed by Berlin Phoenix. So I really hope they recovered from that. But this is something else. I mean, I've never seen a tournament being dominated as much as we've seen Berlin dominating this tournament so far. And I mean, it's so fitting that they face Kit SC now in the final, as you already said, being the only team that was able to at least take a game away from them. But once again, credits to Groningen as well, of course, for making it this far. It's been an absolutely crazy run for them, beating so many teams that were expected to make it further. And I mean, running up against a team like Berlin, I mean, it's just something else. I wouldn't want to be in a position like that where I have to face Berlin in the semi-final. But this is it's once again just showed how they are still able to impress me every series when I just thought, okay, it couldn't get any better. And then they completely shut out a team in the EURC semifinals. It's just insane.
Yeah, definitely. And Groningen, it's fair to say to them, they got better and better with every game that went on. But when you're playing against a team like Berlin, it's just so unfortunate. It really is. Because although every team has played well here, it's fair to say if Groningen had come up against Kit SC or if Groningen had come up against any of the teams that have gone through these quarterfinals so far, other than the team they came up against. I mean, UWE Sea Stags might not have stood a chance against a team like Groningen the way Groningen played in that final match. KSC might not have stood a chance against Groningen the way they played in that final match. We know how critical and crucial they play when it comes to the final games, and it actually feels, I feel sorry for Groningen in a way, because they did everything right in that last game for the first minute, and they still couldn't hold off anything. Like that first minute, I genuinely thought, oh my god, Groningen, they're going to do it. Groningen are going to get a goal. They're going to get the first one. They're going to take the lead. And then that lack of ability, or rather, should I say, that lack of playing in a tournament of this kind of caliber is what has caused a difference here, because Tigray and Nagflo, even High Roll looked like he started to falter a little bit there. But Tigray and Nagflo never looked like they were sweating at all in that match. Their cars positioned perfectly. We saw a single double commit that I think we commented on in the final game that was caused by Groningen. I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen anybody force Berlin into a double commit of that caliber for a while, since KSC last played them. And that's something that I'm looking forward to, because KSC will be looking at this at the moment, and KSC will be saying, oh, how do we break down this defense? How do we break down this offense? What do we do to stop them? And honestly, your answers all lie in that last game with Groningen, because KSC, you have a phenomenal team and a chance to beat Groningen now, a chance to beat Berlin now, if you play in a similar fashion to how Groningen played in that last game, but just that bit faster and more consistent. But that was unbelievable. Yeah,
and especially we've seen how KSC is able to convert on these offensive chances that they create themselves, and the way they are able to transition from defense into offense, especially. Like they can potentially match the speed, but what is more important to see here, to say after this match, in my opinion, is we haven't seen Berlin in a position where they find themselves stuck in defense for quite a while, and Groningen have been able to do that to them in Game 4. But to then see how proficient they are playing defensively as well, and getting these blocks in from the back wall or from basically wherever. I mean, Groningen have been trying to get shots on target from all angles, but still, Berlin was always able to get a car in between. And that just shows to me how much stronger this team from Berlin even is than I thought they were, because we've only seen offense basically from them in this whole tournament, and now seeing them that good in defense as well is just so scary. But yeah, if one team is able to beat it, it's got to be KSC.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. KSC, I almost feel like they will go into this wanting this so much more than Berlin, because getting knocked out earlier down to, I think it was lower bracket, by Berlin is just heartbreaking. And then they beat Vascular in that lower bracket. Now, Vascular were an also dominant team. Like, they'd played extremely, extremely well and deserved maybe a little bit further than what they ended up getting, but obviously got beat out by Nottingham Trent in the end, who Groningen went on to sweep. Now, that's unbelievable. That's unreal. But this KSC team, they have every bit as much of a chance to beat Berlin as any other team in the semi-finals has had, which might be slim, but nevertheless, they've already taken a game. If they've saved the replay of that game, they needed to analyze that for 1,000,001 hours, because to break down this Berlin team, you are basically trying to break down an RLRS caliber team right now. And that is just something not many teams can do. KSC, if they manage this, if they pull off this victory, will be a sensational end to EURC. But nevertheless, Berlin, credit to them, probably deserve to win considering the run they've gone in through.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, I guess we will give ourselves and the players some more time to recover, to reset, to get ready for this final matchup, because we're heading into another 5-minute break, and then we'll be right back with the final match of EURC 2020 between Berlin Phoenix and KSC Lawnmowers. It couldn't get more hype for a German caster like me. I mean, it's sad for the UK audience, but then again, this game is absolutely stacked, and I'm looking forward to it, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We're invincible. We're invincible. We're invincible. Keeping you in the right direction. No matter how your confidence may fall, I'll be here as your foundation. And I say, hey, yo, just let it go. Your struggles won't remain. And I say, hey, yo, we're holding hope and wake up yesterday. So hold on to me. Hold on to me. Hold on to me.
Gave you too much, now I'm swallowed. Now I'm the fool while you're breaking rules. Dangerous path that I follow. Oh, go on, just do what you do. And it hurts as I bleed for you, cry for you. Oh, let me bleed.
are back with EURC 2020. Welcome back. And it's finals time. Killsync. We've seen amazing games so far throughout the course of this season, this EURC season, but also today. And now it comes down to Berlin, Phoenix, and Kitty Lama as an all-German final. Who's gonna be the new champion of University Rocket League Europe?
Yeah, I mean, going into this, I think, if I'm completely honest with you, I think a lot of people obviously had Berlin to go through to this final. And
yeah,
the second team going through to the final was so hotly contested through every single week. I don't think it stayed the same. We saw Nottingham Trent as one of the tipped favourites at one point. Then we realised they were potentially playing against Berlin in the semi-finals, and then they got swept by Groningen. And I think the only team never to really be in contest out of these top 8 was Groningen. No one really expected them to ever get as far as they did, and they got unbelievably far. They performed so well in comparison to everybody else. Now, the poll is live. I'd love for you guys, obviously, in the stream, please vote for who you think will win this. Now, there's a lot of you, and this is the final match. This is the one that you need to be voting on. We want to know what you think as much as what we think. I think, me personally, I actually think Kit SC could take this. And I know that sounds crazy. All things considered, that is absolutely mental. I'm sure people are sitting back thinking, yeah, no, this caster's clueless. He knows absolutely nothing. But I called the 4-2 victory for Kit SC in the first game. I called the 4-0 sweep there. And it's one of those things that I think it will go to a game 7. I would love for it to go to a game 7. And that's not just me being hopeful because, hey, look, it's the final. And a final with a game 7 is exactly what everybody wants. But realistically, Kit SC have just seen the chink in Berlin's armor that they showed in that final game against Groningen. And a team like Kit SC can do exactly what Groningen did, but better. That's not to say Groningen did it badly. They still did extremely well. But Kit SC just have that capability to do that little bit more than what I think Groningen can. And if they do that straight off the bat, the same as what they did against UWE, we could see Kit SC take the first game, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, would be the only time Berlin would be trailing in any series they've played so far.
That is true, I believe. I mean, they went completely defeated in Uniliga as well, so they technically haven't lost a single competitive game at all in their entire career with this team. So that itself is insane. But I mean, yes, you said it. Of course, Kit SC is probably the only team that could potentially challenge Berlin Phoenix, but they have to be super consistent to be able to do so. And we said it before that they sometimes struggle and are somewhat inconsistent. They have shown us in the quarterfinals. They showed glimpses of it in semifinals, but they played a lot more consistent in semifinal, to be fair, than when they faced Rotterdam. So we have seen some improvement here. Is that enough to be able to crown themselves European champion? That is the big question that we have to ask here. And so far, I don't think it is. But I really do hope that it's going to be a lot more closer than the final that they played in Uniliga, where they got swept 4-0 and didn't really stand a chance. And I don't think this is going to be a 4-0 at all for Berlin. But so far, I'm still trending towards Berlin and thinking this is potentially a 4-1, 4-2 at best. But if Kit SC is able to step up, if they can find that consistency, and if they are able to consistently expose the Berlin as Groningen was able to do in Game 4, then this will be a super competitive series. And I mean, I'm looking forward to it either way.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this. This is such a great run from both teams. It's worth pointing out. And it's interesting to see that getting to this stage, Kit SC, I believe, throughout this entire tournament, has only had to beat one non-UK team as it stands. Every other team they've beaten has been a UK team. So thank you, Kit SC, for knocking out every single one of my home country's teams so far. I appreciate that very much. But no, credit to you. You've done absolutely phenomenal, regardless of who comes away with the victory. 64 teams qualified. We're down to just the final 2. And it is, I think, fair to say, the best 2 that have gone through this tournament so far. They have played unbelievably brilliant. And I'm glad to see this as the final game and not potentially Berlin versus either UWE or Groningen. That's not to say I didn't want to see them play. It's just that I think of all the teams that have the potential to beat out this Berlin team, I really do think the only ones with a real opportunity here are Kit SC. And thank you for the actual information. They did obviously beat Ivascula when they got beaten by Berlin. I forgot about the fact that they even went into the lower brackets, because obviously it's crazy that they ended up there. But that is another point to note. The two finalists both came through the same group there. They had to face each other already, so they both know each other's playstyles. So this game, to neither of these teams, is unknown. They are both aware of the playstyles of each other, and this actually, if anything, gives Kit SC the advantage over Berlin, because Berlin have played so many people and swept them all that they've got to see very few playstyles coming through. But here, unbelievable. And even you guys watching now, 68% of you thinking that Berlin are going to win this. That means that among you, there are 32% that are hopeful as I am that Kit SC can pull this victory out of the bag, because it would be incredible. But Crafty, realistically, from what we've seen from these two teams today and how they're playing just today, not taking into factor anything else, do we think Kit SC can beat this Berlin team?
You put me on the spot there, but I do think if any performance or if any day could result in a Kit SC win, it is today, because I think Kit SC have looked the strongest today in their win against a UWE, but at the same time Berlin have looked the strongest like today as well against Groningen. They shut out a team in semifinals. They didn't concede a single goal. So I mean, I'm just looking forward to them even conceding a goal now against Kit SC. And from then on, we can look whether they are able to make it through. But, I mean, if any day, it's got to be today.
Yeah, it really does. And these guys, unbelievable performances all around, unbelievable sportsmanship all around. We're not seeing much in the way of chat of any BMs or anything like that. Nobody is trolling here. Every single team that is left in these final ones are trying their hardest to win this. And it just goes to show from the performances that all of these teams have put out. Unbelievable performances. This one, obviously a best of 7. That game extra on top of what they've had in their previous matchup might just be all the difference Kit SC need to really analyze how this Berlin team's playing. But Crafty, if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. I think we're ready to...
I totally am.
I think we're ready to get into this and just get this started and finally see the match we wanted to see. Berlin facing up against Kit SC in the finals of the EURC, and these guys... These are going to bring it to you. These are the ones you wanted to watch from the start. Let's be honest. They're the ones that challenge each other the best. And as we begin this first game, who will take the victory early on for this first game, as out of the gates, Kit SC are trying to lather on the pressure?
Yeah, we have seen this before in Kit SC. We said it, they have to match the speed of Berlin Phoenix. If they want to challenge them, they have to play super fast, maybe even go for some overly risky plays, and if they are able to pull it off, then they can challenge them.
Yeah, and we're seeing a miss coming through there on the defense, but fortunately it doesn't come through for anything. But Tigray with the demo, and the follow-up's going to come from high roll, but Mati getting it straight over the top of him. Arno wasting possession a little bit there, giving it straight to Tigray. It's not the player you really want to be given possession to at all, but Mati doing what he did in the last couple of games and getting in early, and high roll now taking the pressure towards Kit SC's end as Pag gets a little doink trying to beat out Tigray. Instead goes middle for Nagflow, who gets it past Mati, but Arno there for the save. And this is the opportunity, and the first goal almost going the way of Kit SC, and they can't find the target. But Arno with a good pass, and Tigray with a drop down, and no one scoring that first goal, and it looked like it could come the way of Kit SC, who have started stronger on offense here, and it can! Kit SC taking the first goal of the first game, and they have started stronger, as for the first time today, Berlin dropped their first goal.
This is incredible. I mean, what an incredible course of events here. incredible 2 saves coming out, I think, from Tigray it was, in defense. And just when you thought, okay, it couldn't get any better, he finds another one. But finally able, with no boost left on Tigray, to slip that one past him. And Kidasi off to a great start. They are putting up a lot of pressure.
Yeah, they are, and they're still continuing the pressure, as for the first time we've seen defensive errors coming the way of Berlin. They do not look that strong, but a good counter-attack, and Tigray's got it into the corner. Arno can't get the touch for the clear, but a good pass forward, and the second goal goes as a counter-attack play comes through from KSC, and they could take the lead early on in this series as they are dominating out Berlin here.
What an incredible heads-up play from Pats there, knowing that Matisse up front, ready to receive that pass, went for the boost, but didn't even need that one. Just an incredible placement from Pads, and with an open net, no way Matisse is not going to score that one, and Arno almost going for the next one here.
Yeah, and this is just the Rocket League we wanted to see at the moment. These two teams performing unbelievably, but at the moment, somehow miraculously, KSC holding off this Berlin team, and it could be down to the fact that UWE had to force such a great performance in their first game, as another opportunity comes in, and Mati taking this one slow, and this is something that the other teams haven't been doing, and a good push up, but Tigray with the block on, and again Arno there to clear, a great bump coming through, and Pats is trying to drop it down, and she does. 3 goals to the good for KSC, and this time it's Berlin being shut out.
If it bleeds, you can kill it. And Berlin starting to bleed here. What a great chemistry between the KidC players here. All 3 involved in that goal. Incredible bump play from Mati on the defender. And I just thought Arno had put that way too high, but Pats is already there, getting an incredible touch to make this a 3-goal lead. What a start for KidC.
Yeah, and as an attempted double touch comes down from Nagflow, no one is there really to stop it. Tigray getting into a high roll, and this is an opportunity to get their first goal of the game as Nagflow puts it to back post. Tigray there for the double touch, but cannot get the target. And again, Berlin just cannot break down this defensive team right now from KSC. KSC have come out so unbelievably strong, and it is great to see as a booming clear comes this way. Pads getting the touch on, and Arno's going to look to try and take it around Tigray. A demo in the midfield, and it could be 4 goals to the good for KSC. And this is a domination right now. KSC are making them look like a nobody. Berlin with such a great caliber of team. This is brilliant Rocket League to watch in the finals. This is what you want.
Oh my. I'm struggling for words. This is insane. Like, what is this KidC team? I haven't seen them being able to dominate Berlin that much. And honestly, it could be because Berlin, as you said, had a slightly easier matchup last series, and UWE were really forcing out the best out of KidC, as we see a great save from Pats once again. But this is just not what anyone expected to see here. And Berlin are so far really struggling to find the passing plays, struggling to find the clears, and struggling to even get in between.
Unbelievable. Pads dunking it there over Tigray. Mati putting it off of the crossbar. Tigray cannot get up quickly enough, and Pads dominating Tigray right there. But a great pass from Mati. And this KSC team, it's worth noting, 30 points within each other at this point in time. This is a team performance right now, and it is going to show. It doesn't matter who's scoring, it doesn't matter who's assisting, because the entire team is capable of it. As at the moment, KSC are shutting out Berlin 5-0, and the pressure still mounting. Roll can't get there in time. Shot comes over, and no one on the follow-up, but Arno is there, and it is almost 6-0 as Pads follows up. Duncan Nagflow, 6-0 for KSC, and this is unreal right now. Berlin have no response to this, and it feels like what Berlin were doing to Groningen is happening to them. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Groningen sends his regards. That's for sure. This is absolutely insane what we're seeing from KidC, and the speed, and as you said, the team play, the synergy that they have established is incredible. They leave no room for Berlin to answer these plays, and even gets the mid-air demo now. Arno onto Tigray. He has had no fun at all so far in this series. has been the target of a lot of demos and a lot of bombs now. And we said it earlier, that could be the solution to disrupt the rotation, to disrupt the speed from Berlin Phoenix. And it's working out perfectly now.
And a
for
counter-attack is going to lead to the 7th goal. And we're seeing a 7-0 game right here from KSC. If anybody called this before the game, I'd have called you delusional. But instead, 7-0. And Berlin are the ones being shut out. And not even just in slight fashion. This is dominant fashion right here. The two German forces coming up against each other. We expected Berlin to be the ones to come out on top, especially in this first game. But I said it before and I'll say it again. If KSC could start strong, then they could potentially get the victory. And oh my word, they have done so here as they let it drop. 7-0. KSC take the first game. And I said it could be the first time they take any sort of lead in front of Berlin, and they have done it. Unbelievable performance. And that's not to say Berlin played bad, because they didn't. It's just they did not get a single opportunity to relieve any pressure offensively or defensively from this KSC team. Unbelievable first game. Unbelievable.
I'm still stunned by this. This is insane. I can't put it any, like, I can't find any other words. This is absolutely insanity. And I'm just, I don't know what I'm more excited about. KSC popping off in game one like that, or my excitement for the upcoming matches, because I really wonder how this is going to affect Berlin Phoenix now, because they have never been matched at all in this tournament. They just went 4 games without conceding a single goal and conceded 7 goals in one game against KSC in the grand final. It couldn't get more bonkers than this.
Yeah, it absolutely couldn't. Obviously, they won their last 2 games, 5-0 and 1-0. They conceded more in this individual match alone than they scored in their last 2 against a team they were dominating. And this time, they have been dominated. And it is just, I have never seen this happen. I have never seen a team of this caliber come out and get dominated so hard by a team they've previously beaten 3-1. Like, they should know their playstyle. But again, starting off early, almost getting a first goal off of the kickoff. And this is unbelievable. This is absolutely unreal. I can't believe what I'm watching.
Yeah, I mean, they have also been so crucial at these kickoffs, always going for that cheat and always finding a goal-scoring opportunity right after. This is insane. They really got to work out this for Berlin Phoenix, but now that the play has slowed down a bit, Berlin Phoenix finally able to sort of establish themselves a bit, and I'm really looking forward to how they are going to be able to fight back into this series, because right now they must be shocked as well.
They definitely pads up early, beating out Tigray there. But a demo coming from Tigray and a bump onto Matthias, passed it perfectly center as Berlin almost get their first goal, and they do with the follow-up from Nagflo. And this is more the Berlin we're used to seeing. Great bump from Tigray, forces the pass center for High Roll. High Roll then taking the shot, not getting the target, but the corner post coming to save them and passing it infield to Nagflo, who finds the goal. 1-0 up, 50 seconds gone, and this is Berlin's response.
Yeah, and they very much needed that one. But as I say that, we find ourselves in an immediate attack on KSC side. Great infield pass onto Mati there. It's just once again showing that they're not affected at all by that goal, and they immediately go on to establish their chemistry once again.
Yeah, and we're seeing a few more double commits now coming the way of KSC, and this is something they will want to stop immediately. But a huge booming clear towards goal. Nagflo getting the save and High Roll getting the clear out. But my word, that looked like that could be a goal from that counter-attacking opportunity. Pads trying to get it into Mati. Mati trying to get the block and the bump as he comes out. But now is where they're going to have a problem. They're trying to fight off against this Berlin offense that we've seen so dominant as Pads misses the ball. Tigray now taking it as Mati also misses, but a good hit into the corner from Arno. Going to look to clear it center, but it's cleared straight into the path of High Roll, and this ball needs to get out because now it's KSC who are struggling, but it gets out, and this bump off of the corner post, and the demo is going to lead to a relatively easy clear, and this is where Berlin come back onto the attack, but no one following that up as Tigray gets a booming clear, almost going in itself. Mati with a good save and back into the corner. Nagflo trying to force a 50 between Mati to get the ball center field, and this is too much time being allowed with Tigray out the play. Hyrule gets it high. Pad's trying to stop this play developing, but has passed it center to Nagflo. Nagflo off on the backboard, and this might not be cleared as Tigray follows up for the second goal of the game.
Yeah, that's been too much for them now. And that double commit there on the backboard, Arno and Mati both going for that backboard, cost them in the end. Mati not able to make that touch, just whiffing it there in defense. And Arno, I think, was counting on that one and not in position to answer that shot from Tigray. But yeah, you could really see that they got angry there in offense on the side of Berlin Phoenix. They really wanted to go for that second goal, and they're able to find it. And now it's on to Kidasi to really sort of come back into this game and to create some offensive opportunities themselves. But Nagflo, he finds another one, and this could very well be the opposite of what we've seen in game one.
Yeah, Mati just being baited out there. Nagflo landing on the wall, passing the ball down to himself, knowing he's going to be able to beat out Mati if he makes any sort of challenge. Mati does, flicks it over him perfectly. Nobody in goal there, and 3 goals to the good so early on, and that is not the way KSC wanted Berlin to respond here, but a perfect opportunity, but a counter-attack again, and Tigray dunking it from, I think it was Mati there. Arno getting an almost great hit, but Mati trying to pop it over to himself, and Tigray is saying, no thank you. The defense was too much last game. We need to just stick on offense, and does so beautifully. 4 goals to the good with 2 minutes, 4 seconds remaining now.
And this is a worrying trend for Kidasi now, because, as I said, they got absolutely destroyed in the finals last week in Uniliga, and it was because they lost a very close game, and after that sort of fell apart. And I really hope for them to not fall apart in this scenario as well.
Yeah, Pad's almost with a great shot there, trying to get the pre-flip in, but a great shot from the sidewall, and Arno with a better save, looking to follow up immediately as Hyrule makes a light touch, allowing Pads to put it forward towards goal, and Arno's got a demo. It's a great one, but no one on follow-up. Mati a little bit slow, and this counter-attack is perfect for this Berlin team. They love to have them, but good clear there from Arno, and Mati will look to take this up the wall, but Tigray's going to greet him there, and Mati again taking the shot pass instead into Arno, and Nagflo with the save as Pads looks to take it off into the corner to get a pass in center, does so.
Ooh.
Arno baits out all 3 players, but Mati slow to attack there, and the pressure immediately taken off. With a minute left, they need to make something of these plays.
Yeah, but outside of that double commit there in defense for Berlin Phoenix, they definitely improved after game one. I mean, game one was absolute dominance by Kidasi, but it was also due to the passiveness of Berlin's defense. And this time they really find these blocks before Kidasi is able to create these infield passing plays. And that really shows now in the score as well.
Yeah, and if anybody had said the first game was 7-0, this one would be 4-0 to the opposition, no one would have guessed it. But it could be worse as Mati fortunately clears the lines there. He does not want this to be a shutout at all. Pads passing it over to Arno, not able to make contact. She goes for it again, still not able to make any contact as Tigray is looking to make this 5-0 with the boost to get the flip reset. Almost does so, baiting out the team, and the 5th goal coming through for Nagflo. And this is a goal fest of a final. 7 goals in the first game, 5 in the second, and going to opposite teams. You would not believe it, and you definitely wouldn't have called it. Unbelievable performances from both, but as the clock is on 5 seconds, it very much looks as if a shutout is in order this time for KSC, as Tigray keeps the ball alive, trying to keep those goals going as Nagflo shoots on target, but the ball hits the floor before the goal's allowed to go in, and we see 5 goals to 0 for Berlin. I just don't know what is happening.
Me neither. This is just, what is this final? I mean, we just witnessed 12 goals in 2 matches, but it's also been 2 complete shutouts. What is going on with these teams? And to be fair, it didn't look like it at the start of this game, because Kidasi came out hot after at the start of game 2, and they were immediately able to create pressure again. They had a couple chances where it looked like they could have been scoring, but then as soon as that first goal for Berlin came through, it's been all Berlin, and they just dominated the rest of this game. And that is what I meant earlier by this being a sort of worrying trend now, because if this is any indication for KTC now sort of maybe even tilting in this series already, that could spell disaster, and we could see a repeat of what we've seen in the Uniliga finals. So what I need for them to do now is reset, clear your mind, count this one off as a one-time thing that happened, and start the third game just as you started game 1 and 2.
Yeah, and as you say, we've seen 2 so far back-to-back shutouts in these games. Just not what we were expecting. We came into this expecting Berlin to be quite dominant, but KSC showed us the complete opposite of that as they started the game so strong. And Mati looking to keep play alive again, using all of his boost to try and challenge Nagflow. That could be a mistake because you allow the counter-attack on to your team with only one player in defense, but Pad's not able to get a great clear, looks to try and challenge Tigray, but a great little bump allows Mati to follow that one up, and Arno's going to look to take this up the wall and wait for his team to get center, because at the moment no one really there. Mati following up high roll, still looking to get another bump and block onto Nagflow, does so. Pad's there early, and this is a good opportunity right now as the bump comes through onto the goalkeeper. Arno looking to play it off of the side, and defense holding up. Fortunately for Berlin here, because they are looking like they're boost starved and struggling at this point in time.
Yeah, but crucially, I think it was Tigray got a lot of boost in midfield there. Yes, but he doesn't really make any use of it. Nagflow, though, with the ability to find that clear, finally, as we've seen 1 minute of pure aggression from KTC. They are indeed coming out hot again, continuing what they've shown in game 1 and at the start of game 2, and that is a good sign for them. But what an incredibly close shot from Tigray.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievably close shot as this pass goes center to Pads, and Pads not following up quickly enough for that one. They're not going to feel too happy about that. They know they had the opportunity to score. It was a great pass in from Mati, but I don't think they're expecting it to be that perfect. And again, Mati with a great pass in, and again, the player too close to follow. But Pads looking for almost a solo play here, passing it to Mati. Mati with a backflip up onto the backboard, but Nagflow is there early to stop that one. Mati needs to stop play developing there. Instead, allows Arno to come through for the block, and Mati coming through for the block again. This is not where you want to be, facing off against Berlin. Arno getting the clear off into his own corner, and again another block, and Nagflow misses the boost, needs to pick up that corner, does so. Pads with a good pass through to Mati. Mati off of the backboard, but Nagflow is there after having picked up that 100 boost. Pad.
That is so close once again, but you can really feel like they are fighting for every boost pad now on the field on both sides, and it's basically who's gonna be able to gain control of especially midfield boost that is able to continue this attacking, and it's a
this
good
is
clear.
the counter-attack! Oh, high roll there with a great bit of defensive play. It didn't look like anybody was getting back on the side of KS of Berlin there, but high roll just coming to save his team, but that time costs his team, and Tigray with a phenomenal save as Mati follows through, and another save, and Berlin do not want to concede, but it doesn't matter. Arno coming through with a goal that eventually takes it, but my word, it did not look like Berlin were going to concede at all in that play, but a great flick there from Arno, getting his car, rotating underneath and getting the perfect precision into the far hand side, taking it away from a defensive possibility there, and we see one goal going the way of KSC.
The way these two teams can remain in offense, sort of cement themselves in offense, one they've established a good position, is amazing, and they've both shown that they're able to do it, continuously pressuring the backboard, continuously finding infield passes and getting shots on target, forcing double commits, forcing boost expenditure on the side of the defense. And this time it's once again been KTC with a great series of shots and great series of passes, and they are able to find that first goal, more importantly.
Yeah, and this is risky as Arno is the last person back in defense, but this could be a great pass, but no boost coming through from Matteo. Leaves him impossible to score that goal, but a bad miss on defense, and the second goal goes in. It didn't even look like it was happening. I don't know what happened there. I think just a casual miss from Hyrule off of the sidewall. Tigray not expecting it, not backing goal, and that is the first real defensive mistake we have actually seen from this Berlin team. Before, it has just been great pressure coming through, but now the defensive mistake is what has cost them. They are now trailing 2 goals with a minute 20 remaining, and this is just incredible final performances here.
It's just so great to see these teams go toe-to-toe like they do. Even though it's been 2 shutouts so far, and this could very well be another shutout, it's still such a close and highly competitive series. And Kid SC, after this heartbreaking loss in Game 2, where it looked like Berlin Phoenix are finding their dominance again, they come back with a game like that, and even though it's not over and Berlin Phoenix can very well make this, at least force us into an overtime, it's just such a great showing from Kid SC once again.
Yeah, KSC are just not allowing anything on target at this point in time. Even the passes coming through are just not good enough, as Tigray goes a little bit too wide and leaves the goal wide open there for Arno. It's not even a great shot, to be fair. It's just well placed. Actually, I say that, it's a boomer. I didn't quite realize it was that far away. Fair play to him, it's a boomer. But still, you have to allow a player back in your defense. You cannot give that much time in this sort of game, because Kit SC will dominate you 100 times out of 100 if you leave an opportunity like that for them to take.
Yes, and that's amazing to see how we were talking about how one team could finally expose Berlin's defense or find these holes in Berlin's defense and force these mistakes, as we see a great redirect. But yes, it is Kid SC, and they are the ones to find them. But what a great shot from High Roll to make this only a 2-goal lead, but with only 8 seconds left on the clock. I don't think we're going to see an incredible comeback here.
Yeah, and obviously, like you say, 8 seconds left. Hyrule getting what feels like a consolation goal at this point in time. 3 goals to 1, and Kit SC have not at all looked like they are in the back foot on this game. They have looked dominant and absolutely unbelievable, as an almost 4th goal coming through for them, but the ball gets put down, and Kit SC again going ahead in this series in what I think only I was rooting for them, really. I think it's fair as well, because Berlin have been so dominant throughout this whole thing, and even myself, it felt like somewhat of a pipe dream that Kit SC might be able to take this after the run that Berlin have had. Having never once stepped foot into that lower bracket, they might now get beaten by the team they put down into the lower bracket. And this right here is a final, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, they're going to pull the C9 here if they continue like that. But coming from the lower bracket, be able to challenge Berlin in the final is just incredible in itself. And then putting up a showing like this is just, I mean, we couldn't ask for a better final at this point already, and we've all been 3 games into it. But Kid SC once again coming back, finding their offense again, and finding these passing plays. And yes, it's also been due to a lot of these defensive slip-ups in for Berlin's side that we haven't seen so far in this tournament. But that is what we were looking for. We wanted Kid SC to pressure them, to make these plays, to go for early challenges, to force these mistakes, and they have been consistently able to do so, and that is just amazing. And this is just if it continues like that, it's just going to be, it could very well go to Game 7, and that would be the most hyped thing we've ever seen here on EURC.
Yeah, and these games, they have been at the level we expect from both teams. Now, unfortunately, I'll just say server's gone down for maintenance, so we're just leaving this match. Just going to restart that one. But in talking about the way Kit SC are playing, I don't know if they were watching, but if they were, they seem to be doing a lot of the things that we said they would need to do to win this match. Now, that is not their standard style of play. They have changed up dramatically. This is such a faster Kit SC than we saw playing the first game against UWE Sea Stags, because Sea Stags almost outpaced them. And in this game, Kit SC have not at all looked like they're being outpaced here by Berlin. Berlin are playing fast. Yes, credit to them. But this Kit SC team are just dominating in what feels like almost every aspect of the field. Tigray, the first person up to almost every ball, is suddenly being beat out by all three Kit SC players as we see an early opportunity again and a bait out, and this is going to be Pads passing off into the center. Nagflow with a difficult save, and it could have been a good shot again as Kit SC look to take this early lead. It's going to get the pass into center, but not quite as Arneo looks for the pass in, and nobody there to follow. And again, Kit SC starting this game so powerfully as bumps coming through from Pads, not looking to allow the pressure to come through. Matty taking out Tigray from the defense, and Pads with the miss there, and that was such a crucial time to hit the ball. But Arno, even with 0 boost, still getting in the way of the ball, and that is not something we see. And for the first time, it's got to be said, Nagflow making a wasteful pass as Arno gets the flip reset over the top of one, and now pressure comes onto this Berlin defense and no one able to score. This is crazy as a start to game number 4.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that pass from Nagflow, because that is very uncharacteristic indeed. And we haven't seen these things that Berlin are doing at the moment at all from them in the past. And it's, I mean, all credit to Kit SC for forcing this from Berlin, but they making very uncharacteristic mistakes, and they are not finding these passing plays at all at the moment, going for challenges that they are unable to lose, that they don't want to go for, and then these defensive slip-ups as well. That is something we haven't seen at all from them, but they are still a team that knows how to score beautiful goals, and Nagflow winning the 50-50 once again. He doesn't like us talking trash about him. He answers immediately with a goal like that.
Yeah, and it's actually got to be said, and I mean no discredit here to Mati, but the miss earlier on in that play was critical to Berlin coming out and being able to take that goal. But yeah, I think it's just that Nagflow decided, you know, the passes didn't work for me. I'll just take it solo. It's fine. I can do that too. And the flick just under the crossbar. It doesn't matter who you are in a 1v1. You're not saving that. But a great drop down causes almost an equalizer, and he just can't get it in. That was the best opportunity to draw up this game, and instead Arno left trying to trail and clear the lines there, and that looked like it was going to be an easy shot, and maybe now we're starting to see Kit SC falter a little bit.
How is Tigray able to make these saves dropping off of the backboard over and over again? He is so good at this game, but it's just amazing to see how these teams just smack the ball around in the offensive half each time. They always find these little opportunities and immediately use them. But credit to Berlin's defense now that they've stabilized a bit and not really let Kit SC do too much with it. And still, you don't want to count out Kit SC after the showing in game 1 and 3 respectively. But Berlin Phoenix finally looking like they're finding that stability once again, as they did in game 2.
Yeah, as the ball looks to be dropped down, the team manages to get it out, gets the flip reset, and it passed perfectly to Pads. But this is the counter-attack you don't want to see.
My.
As High Roll gets a great shot, but stopped on the inside, goes for the ceiling touch there. Not sure if he was going for a pass or a shot, but it doesn't matter as the ball starts to get cleared. Pads trying to beat out Nagflow, does so, and Nagflow using all of his boost to try and get back. And this is where you don't want to be left against this team. Pads needs to follow. Everybody's missed, but Arno wiping out Pads in the process of the rotation back. And that is a misplay, miscommunication, and just an overall lack of awareness there from Arno as Mati tries to clear, but Pads there to save the day.
Yeah, we have seen quite a few mistakes now, but also on the side of Berlin, just as I was complimenting them, but what a great stealing shot from Mati. Tigray in the way though, seeing a few double commits on both sides now, you can really feel like this game is getting a bit more chaotic. We've seen a lot of action in midfield, and neither team really able to establish themselves at the moment.
Yeah, and there's only one goal separates these two and a minute left. Anybody can win this, like you say. Arno going up, Pad's not trusting that he's going to get it. She makes a bit of an overcommit there, really. And a block trying to come through from Mati. Zero boost is going to be forced to try and take a back corner of the opposition. High roll still on the ball. Pad's jumping anyway. And Arno there to get it clear over to Pads, who needs to get this center. Needs to get it back to Arno. And this is a great team play. But Nagflo there for the easy save from an easy shot. And Arno needs to pinch this middle. Does so and passes it to Pads. And the ball goes high, and this is where they run a bit of a risk. This needs to be followed. 20 seconds remaining. Pad's trying to put it into Mati, instead taking it off of Arno, and Mati dropping it to Tigray, who is going to slow down play, allow the ball to just be taken out of this defense a little bit slowly, just to make sure this game sticks at 1-0, which it will do so easily as Nagflo baits out the play. Nobody can keep the ball up, and these guys are trading games right now.
Yeah, that has been such a close series of events there in the end, but unfortunately, no one in Kidder's offense with enough boost to really challenge these balls. It looked like they could have gone for a more aggressive play there, given that they were down with like 20 seconds left. But in the end, they decided to sort of play it safe and didn't really create much out of it. So that could have been an opportunity, but with that amount of boost, not really able to follow it up. But still, it just shows how incredibly close this series is and how it's just back and forth between these two teams. And neither team really able to, as I said earlier, establish themselves in the series. They're not only trading shots here, they're trading games now as well. And it's the second time that Berlin has been able to equalize it, even though this has been a lot closer than what we've seen in games 1 and 2. So now that we're basically down to a best of 3, this could definitely go either way.
Yeah, and I think at this point in time, KSC just need to take a slight step back, and they need to just calm down a little bit, because at this point now, KSC looked like they were chasing and rushing a little bit too much at the end of that last game. They weren't really being punished for it, but in this game, if Berlin sense that that's one of their weaknesses, they're going to punish that. And KSC, like you say, best of 3 basically now. They need to go in imagining this is just 0-0 and they just need to win 2 games. Because if you can do that, if you can get it out of your head that you just lost that previous match, you have every possibility to be back in this. They've shown extreme offensive prowess and they have every opportunity to get this back, as a big miss comes from High Roll, but Nagflo there early, and a big hit down demo onto Tigray is going to look for a couple more bumps on their rotations out, but nevertheless not able to capitalize on that, and a demo onto Nagflo, and that's it. KSC have said, I'm going to murder you all at this point in time. The demo's coming out, the attempted double touch, but it's an open goal. Arno needs to get the shot, allows far too much time for Tigray to get back there, and that is an example of KSC needing to pressure this earlier, because Berlin now, they are faltering and they are looking like they're struggling. Great pass through, Pads is up early, but Tigray up even earlier than she.
Yeah, but once again, and I think we've seen that in every single game so far, it's Kidder's that come out stronger right after kickoff, and this time they have been able to punish it, but T finds another great pass from Arno. And as I say it, they do indeed punish Berlin for their passiveness in defense. And it's just executed perfectly between who else but Arno and Mati.
Yeah, Mati with a great early flip there. Hard to call it a pre-flip because he doesn't quite flip that early, but it's early enough that it beats out the entire team. He knows if he leaves it any later, he's not going to be able to get it. Perfect shot, perfect execution, and again, KSC take the early lead as Pinch. Pads gets a pinch, but it's a bad pinch. It's gone back towards goal, and that's really not what you want as Tigray looks for bumps and demos on the rotation out. Gets one onto Pads, I believe. That was High Roll getting that one, but the play developing so slowly here, and Pads taking that boost from Tigray, allowing the play to take a little bit of pressure off here as Arno is going to look to go up, gets a good demo, but it's taken himself out of the play, and the positioning of Tigray means he's not ready for that second touch off of the corner, and a good clear out. High Roll forced to try and keep that pressure alive, but that was a great opportunity for Berlin to take the equalizer and just not following up quickly enough as High Roll is there, looking to put it into the corner, but Arno again with the clear, and this team is just showing how good they can be as a good pass comes in, and trying to get over the top of Tigray is Arno, but can't get it. Pad's looking to try and get a block onto High Roll again after the clear out, and this is dangerous now, a 2-on-1 as Arno gets a big clear, gonna look for the air dribble, gets it over Tigray, who is now out of the play with little boost, picks up his 100, and now is okay to continue trying to pressure as he does. Great pass off onto the backboard, but Arno with a phenomenal read, and Pads needs to get this. Nagflo is looking for the double touch, instead leads it to Tigray, and Pads, Mati both double commit, and Mati just leaving that play a bit too early. It comes perfectly to him, but not expecting the 50 to come through from Pads there, and now they're left trying to stop this attacking play as again Tigray is left with very limited boost. A bad touch from High Roll is going to allow Pads to follow this into a pass play, but Nagflo big clear. Arno with an even better touch away there, but Nagflo is going to look for another shot coming off of the backboard. And these two teams, they are just trading positions right here, absolutely trading.
Hell yeah, and I love it. It's so much fun, but great double demo now coming in as well. And yes, so far it's still incredibly close, but it looks like Berlin are slowly getting closer to creating these goal scoring opportunities that they need to answer this goal by KDC. But it's also important to notice that throughout the course of this series, the team that scored the first goal was the one to take away the game. And if it continues like that, it just shows how important this early aggression from KDC can be throughout the course of this series. And if they could take away this game and get the match point, respectively, that would be insane for them.
Yeah, and Pad's getting a good block against Nagflo, and now again Berlin are left retreating as Hyrule gets a good clear out, and this is a potential pass opportunity through to Tigray. Goes solo, almost gets the goal as Pads misses, but bailed out by Mati there, and that's a great save and a great 2 sets of 50s from Arno, really stopping that play developing as Arno's going to look to get it clear again, does so, straight to Mati, and Mati looking for the redirect, can't get it over the top. Pads is coming in, but Tigray with a great block, almost making it 2 goals to the good, and Mati is just trying to bait out here, but that is not the best decision because now they're left retreating, but Pads with a good clear off onto the sidewall, good pass in center, but too far over, and Tigray cannot reach, and now it's Hyrule versus the 2 you do not want to be faced with, but a good block and limited boost from Mati proves useful as a good pass coming in from Hyrule, but cut out by Arno in the midfield. Early challenge, but this is a great opportunity for a double touch as Nagflo ties up the game with 5 seconds remaining. You cannot afford an overcommit with 5 seconds against a team like Berlin.
And just as I was about to say that, I'm really missing these infield passes from Berlin Phoenix because they haven't shown a lot of them in these previous games, even though it's one of their biggest strengths, one could say. Tigray just finds a beautiful drop onto Nagflo, who follows it up even more beautiful. And that is just the first overtime we've seen in this final.
Yeah, and it's the first overtime and one that really should not have happened, and I don't think KSC are going to be too happy with that. They'll look back and wish they hadn't overcommitted so hard, but nevertheless now Pad's being almost baited out by our own teammate there in Arno, and Arno getting a good clear though, but the push out is far too slow, but Tigray gets dunked hard as Mati pushes it to the middle, but Pads can't find the hit there. Unfortunately for Arno, Nagflo bumped by High Roll, and this is going to be a big clear out, and it needs to be to Mati, and it's good. It's a good pre-flip, but up early, Nagflo beaten out, and this could be the goal, but great defense from Pads as she gets the ball clear, is looking to find Mati again, but instead going to go for the pinch and wasting too much of possession there, going for the 100 boost. Arno getting the 50, and this is the opportunity to pass it in, and Pads has returned back too early, not expecting the ball to come through, and nothing coming through for them there as Mati tries to keep the play alive, and Berlin are just being glued to their backfield as a boomer comes through from Nagflo. causing the play to go the opposite direction as Matteo looked to take it up the sidewall. Does so great, gets a good pinch. Arno now looking to keep play alive. Nobody challenging Tigray, but Tigray and Nagflo both taken out of the play, and this is what you don't want. This is the opportunity, and they've taken it in the overtime. 2-1 to KSC, 3 games to 2, and KSC are in the driving seat now. They have the momentum, they have the opportunity, and now they are forced. They have forced Berlin's hand to try and get 2 games back, and this is what I was hoping for. I think I said 4-3. It would be great to see, but this is unbelievable. Absolutely incredible.
This is absolutely insane. I mean, another very uncharacteristic mistake from the Berlin side. They gave Kidesi a lot of space in this overtime. They were falling back quite a bit compared to how they played the rest of this game. And then a double... I don't know if there was a bump included, to be honest. I don't know if you saw it, but a double commit between Tigray and Nagflo, both whiffing the ball and opening up a huge opportunity for Arno to score that one. He uses it immediately. And yes, this game probably should have been Kidesi's in the first place after they conceded that goal with 5 seconds left on the clock. But to come back into this and to be basically donated a goal like that, that must hurt for Berlin Phoenix.
Yeah, and that was just a double commit that we just don't expect to see from the 2 least likely players to do it, might we add. Because Nagflo and Tigray are the 2 arguably strongest defenders on the entire pitch. To take them out and allow KSC any sort of attack from that, no, you can't do that. You just cannot allow that sort of play to come through from KSC there. And Berlin, they need to step up their game now, because regardless of whether they win this game, this has almost been a trade so far. KSC winning the first, then Berlin, then KSC, Berlin, KSC. If that continues, it doesn't matter what Berlin do, KSC have got this. They have to now get 2 back-to-back games, and that is difficult for any team. It doesn't matter who you are. But this, it's worth pointing out, is the most amount of games that this Berlin team has lost. And at the moment, they've only lost games to KSC. In this entire tournament, they have lost 4 games in total, all of them to this team that they're currently playing. And KSC have beaten every single team except Berlin as it stands in this tournament. This is the only team they've had a problem with, and right now, they're showing us you don't need to be in RLCS, you don't need to be an RLRS caliber team to beat an RLRS caliber team. You just need to play better on the day, and that is what they are doing. We said it at the start, KSC have been playing better from the very off. Even though Berlin 4-0 swept, they were still looking the better team on the day. And as we see that, an overcommit coming through from Berlin, and they are allowing the time as a great pass comes through, and Pads with the pre-flip, trying to get it into center. Bad pinch off of the ceiling, but ends up good as Arno gets the ball there. But high roll committing and no contact with the ball, and it's just going to be left for Pads to try and clear the defense here.
Yeah, but seeing these whiffs from Berlin Phoenix just shows how much KSC are pushing them. And that is incredible to see, because we've never seen it before. A team being able to do it to them like KSC is doing it now. And again, they come up with great early aggression, but Berlin Phoenix now really need to step up. They need to find these passing plays again, because it looked like they went for a lot of solos, but it's not working out for them at the moment.
Yeah, and Arno getting tripped up on the side post there, but bailed out by Mati, and then comes to recover to make a great save. And this is Arno off of the ceiling, trying to get a block onto high roll is Mati, but can't find it. And a bad drop down into the center, but Tigray taking it off of Nagflo. And that was not a great decision. Nagflo had every opportunity there to get a goal shooting opportunity and doesn't get allowed by his own teammate. Tigray again putting it high and far, but a great clear out from Pads, forcing high roll to put it to the side, and Pads needs to get another clear as a good pass goes in, but it's an easy save for Arno as Mati gets a good banging clear as Nagflo goes over the top, and this is where the counter-attacks happen. You can't commit all 3 of your players, and this is dangerous now for KSC, but Pads with a great block and an even better demo coming through from Mati, I think it was there, just taking out that 3rd man out of the play, and gets re-demoed for the efforts. Good pass into the corner. Tigray needs a good block, but it's not a great one. And it's allowed a shot from Pads, but blocked again. And it is the story of this game. Pressure on offense from both teams, but simple shots being saved. Simple, and it's a good pass in, and another good pass, but Pads flip forces the block onto it. And Mati trying to get it back in, but Tigray there, the patience of a saint right there. No pressure for him at all.
This is just getting so intense. You can really feel it because neither team really wants to slip up here, especially Berlin being with their backs against the wall. But they need to come up with something because they can't seem to find these goal scoring opportunities. They can't establish that dominant style anymore because Kiddersi just doesn't give them the room to do so. And to be fair, they have felt sort of disconnected at times even. And they just give too many opportunities over to Kiddersi, and it's going to punish them if they can't put a foot in the door.
Yeah, definitely. As Hyrule cuts out play early, but a pass through to Mati, and Mati over to Pads, but Pads does not follow. Seeing Tigray is up there early, but Pads will follow this one and gets a good pass over to Arno. Arno with a simple touch that removes all opportunity to really make a good counter-attack of that, but a double commit, and Pads has a relatively open goal, but Tigray is there to follow. This is going to be a ceiling shot attempt. And unfortunately, Mati hadn't dropped down quickly enough off of the ceiling. We see it so often. Tigray forced to stay down, but Mati coming in early, and Pads is going to look for the block. This is a counter-attack opportunity as Tigray looks to pass it center, but not a great one. Hyrule forced back there and passing it back into Tigray, who's going to go off of the backboard, and Hyrule again another center, but again not bet by any teammates as Mati goes in for the bump on Nagflo, and Arno keeps play alive for this KitSC team. It's gone over for Mati. He's going to look to drop it down for Pads, but instead Arno turning well, and Hyrule forced to clear this out far.
Oh, this is getting intenser with every second, but 30 seconds just left, and it's still an even game. No goals scored so far. We haven't seen anything like that between these two teams in the past, and both teams are just trying to create an opportunity now. They don't want to take this into overtime, and Arno almost finds one there. But Berlin Phoenix, they don't look like they have a lot in the tank left, and they basically let Kiddersi do their thing and waiting for them to make a mistake.
Yeah, they really are, but that is just not going to work as overtime hits in what could potentially be the final match of the evening as KitSC looks to try and beat out this overly dominant Berlin team. But Berlin not letting up yet as they try to keep play alive. Zero boost on the way of Arno, picks up the 12 and the second one. And this is a good opportunity now as he gets the 100 still. And now boost is going to be limited for this Berlin team as the pressure will keep coming through. And Arno has the opportunity but can't find the goal. And now a counter-attack again, but Nagflo with the wasted ball for a second time this match. Good pass center. Mati can't make contact. And again, KitSC are left with a single player on defense. But a good block from Arno. Easy for him. Can see Tigray coming in and gets the pop over again. Pads trying to get the ball out, and everybody just blocking each other here. Every single hit is almost met with a second one. Hyrule is back. He is not facing the right direction, and Pads with a shot again, but this time Hyrule facing the right way, able to get the clear. And it's a good pass into Arno and a better clear from Tigray, and this is just unbelievable performance from both teams. The pressure building a minute 12 into this overtime, and neither team look like they're going to get the goal. But as I say that, Nagflo needs to get the clear. A good backboard pass, and Pads is there. Another backboard pass, and so is Matteo.
Oh my God.
But can't get it under. But Pads going again for the backboard, going for the shot, and Nagflo with the save. And that right there is 20 seconds of hell for Berlin. But they've made it out, and they need to get rid of this ball because they are not doing well right now.
No, not at all. They can't seem to find each other. They can't find these touches. Finally, Tigray gets it out of their own half, but what an incredible series of events there. And whenever the ball gets in front of either of these two goals, my heart just basically skips a beat because it's so intense and so hard to watch. I don't know. It's just either team, of course, at this point deserves to win the whole thing, but only one can crown themselves European champions of University Rocket League. And Berlin really need to step up now because it looks like KTC could actually get away with it.
It really does, and honestly, KTC, even in this overtime, have looked like the more destructive team as Arno tries to get a block onto Tigray, but this is the kind of destruction you don't want to be left with, but a great touch there from Matty, takes the ball away from danger as Matty again trying to get the block onto Tigray. Is only one in defense. They need to take that corner boost from him. They can't allow him that, and now Tigray is going to be slow coming back. Arno with the pass in center and Nagflow cutting that out. And this is great Rocket League from both teams as Tigray takes it slow. He's going to look for the air dribble here, but shut out by Matty. Not allowed to take any opportunity, but a good pass. And another one. And there's nobody in the air here for Kit. But fortunately for them, also nobody in the air for Berlin. And this, a 3-minute overtime. And still no one looks like they're going to take this victory yet.
I can't believe this thing is still going on. 3 minutes of overtime, and I don't know when either team is going to crack because it's so incredibly close. But you can really feel that KTC sort of had it, but then they didn't want to commit too far, and that pinch almost went the wrong way with no one in net there for KTC. And it's small mistakes like that that can really make or break the game now at a state like that.
Yeah, really can. As Nagflow tries to get it center, Hyrule must be there. He's actually nowhere near the play. And play is forced to allow out, but Matty with an easy clear off of his own backboard there from a Tigray shot. But this is where you don't want to be. But again, great defensive play. And now it's going to be dangerous. But a good demo coming through from Tigray on to Matty or Arno, I'm not even sure which player it was, but irrelevant, a drop down, and now Pad's forced to clear the lines for Kit SC. 4 minutes 12, and we've basically seen almost an extra game going on here. This is unbelievable. The two teams just not letting up after every single shot that comes through. A better set of defensive clears comes in, and Nagflow getting it high. This is the position they want, but Tigray slow to recover on that one, gives Pads all of the time in the world to pick up the 100 boost from the opposite corner. But now Nagflow getting it off of the backboard, and Matthias there, and they've taken it out, and this could be the opportunity of a lifetime, but no contact coming through as Matty tries to drop it down, and Pads is there, Barno's taking it off, and maybe the right decision. It looked like a pass was going to be imminent from the Berlin team. A good block would have come in quite easily as Pads clears from the back wall, getting the block there and taking pressure off, but nobody is back. Matty forced to make the save, and defensively, these two teams are holding up like nothing I've seen before in this EURC yet.
Absolutely. 5 minutes. We've basically got... We're up to a best of 9 now if it continues like that, because we get so much playtime here. But what an incredible defensive effort for both teams so far, and you can really feel, of course, they don't want to make this mistake. They always keep one in the back. It's been mostly Tigray so far for the side of Berlin Phoenix and either Pats or Mati, but this is absolutely crazy.
This is the opportunity. If this drops down and Nagflow doesn't get a good bump, that would have been bad. And instead clears it right into the path of Pads, who clears it into the path of Tigray. You don't want to be doing that. No one in goal. Unfortunately, the ball not going into the net. And 0 boost on Nagflow is going to leave danger now. Tigray with a great block there. Solo man goes up early, but Pads has dropped it down. And Nagflow with a good save. And we're going to see Tigray going for the solo play. We're going to game 7.
I do not believe it. We're actually going to a game 7, and Mati a bit too hesitant there. Expected an earlier touch from Tigray, but Tigray takes his time and dribbles it into the goal. 6 minutes and 9 seconds of overtime, and 5 minutes before that without a single goal after so many goals this series. Nobody expected a game 6 to look like that, but we are actually getting our Game 7 series in the grand final in EURC between these two teams. I mean, this is just insane.
Yeah, this is unreal performance from both. Like, both of these teams are playing so well, but the sweat at the moment dripping from my forehead is unreal. God knows how these guys are feeling right now, because this is just incredible performances all around. 6 minutes Kit SC has to win that. It's so important because after 6 minutes of this, you do not want to be going into the next game because now all momentum has shifted in favor of Berlin Phoenix.
Absolutely.
They've just won basically what feels like 2 games worth of Rocket League, and that is so difficult. KSC need to start this strong now. We actually said at the start of this that they've won. I think you said the team who scored first has always won, and obviously this holds true still. So next game, we need to see if they're going to win. KSC taking an early lead. But can we just comment on one thing in that game? 10 shots individually from Tigray, beating out the entirety of the shots from KSC. Nagflow only had 1, Hyrule had 2. Tigray was peppering that goal, unbelievably so, and he was rewarded for it eventually. But you got to understand, guys, 10 shots just isn't realistic. It's just not. It is absolutely mad. Even in an overtime of 6 minutes, 10 shots is huge from an individual player, and he was trying so much. The defense holding up so well from KSC, but not holding up for long enough as we see them taking that game, and it's unreal. I just couldn't call this.
Absolutely. And I mean, it really comes down to mental strength now. As you said it, the momentum has shifted to Berlin now, you would expect. But can KSC keep their heads up now? Because they really need to. Because, of course, a loss like that after 6 minutes of overtime just breaks your heart in a game like that. But especially when you are on match point. But now they have to collect themselves. And if they start off the way they started off every game, with a one kickoff and immediate pressure onto the target.
But as you say that, the open goal for Berlin, we just said the pressure coming through from KSC, and it did not matter because Pads with the early challenge, missing the ball, not being able to beat out Nagflow there, and Nagflow takes the first goal 10 seconds into this game. We waited 11 minutes for the first game for the first goal last game, and this game just 10 seconds as KSC looks for a response, but Nagflow there, and it looks like Nagflow does not want this game to go any other way than the way he is dreaming of it.
And can they break the curse now? Because we said it, the team that scored first won these games. So they really have to step up now, have to really be resilient now, because we've seen how Berlin can dominate games when they're ahead.
Yeah, and Hyrule going for that demo, leaving Tigray in the back by himself. But it does not matter. The clear does not come high or wide or even far. And it's left trying to face off again in their own half as KSC struggle to deal with this offense now by Berlin. We saw it last time. Berlin dealt with it perfectly. But now a pass to center. Hyrule's turn early and a good 50 from Pads, taking the boost at the same time. And Arno needs a good clear, but instead it's just high off onto the backboard, and this is practically open, except Pads is there early to clear it, and a pass in field to Arno is going to see the ball getting cleared there. Tigray with an attempted bump, and this is everything they needed, but Nagflow with a good hit onto the side wall. Arno following up early, but it's not early enough to beat out Tigray, and play continues to be dominated at the moment by Berlin.
Yes, and you also see how they are earlier to these balls now in midfield, something that we haven't really seen from them in these previous games, but they finally are able to increase the pace of the game and control it, and it's Tigray who finds another shot.
Yeah, and we have yet to see a team come back from a deficit of 2 goals yet. And if that holds true, Berlin will be taking victory. But KSC are not out yet. More than enough time for them to score plenty of goals. But a demo coming through and another player. And this is where you don't want to be. Good infield pass to Hyrule. But Hyrule cannot find the target. This is going to be blocked by Pads as Arno tries to clear. Doesn't realize Pads is waiting there. And now pressure goes back onto them. But amazingly, Mati with the clear. And this is going to be another. But Pads, great goal on the return to the great save on the return to goal there as Tigray puts it center for High Roll back to Tigray, but it doesn't matter. High Roll single-handedly doing that one. Pass through from Tigray to High Roll onto the sidewall, looking to find Tigray again, I think, but instead stays feathering the boost and gets the double touch. And 2 minutes 39 remaining, and it looks like Kit SC could be going away now with second place if they cannot find a response to this. But there's one of the responses they need. As we're talking about it, Pads going up, getting a great block on Nagflow, dropping down perfectly for Arno, and Arno easy into the top corner of the opposite side where all the defense are, and it's 3-1.
I mean, yeah, just as I was about to say, it looked like Berlin finally found a way to dismantle this Kid SC defense, and they looked sort of lost in the first 2 minutes and 30 seconds of this game. And almost another one from Nagflow. They really have to chill a bit, take a step back and reset as fast as possible, because they can't let that happen. They can't give so much space over to Nagflow and Tigray in these offensive rotations.
Yeah, you really can't, but as the ball gets cleared out, Pads with a good pass, and Matey there trying to get the save, and this is where danger comes through, but Tigray there with the block, and Pads is going to look to get a block onto High Roll, the victor of that one though, but Mati is up early, trying to get control of it, trying to beat out Nagflow, instead beats himself out, and this is where they're going to struggle. Mati trying to get the pass through to Arno, and he does, but Nagflow has returned to goal quickly enough there. Pads trying to keep play alive, and it's 2 goals returned. Mati keeping the hopes alive of this KSC team. 3 goals to 2, and this is the best trade-off we've seen from these two teams so far.
Oh my god, this is incredible! And this is game 7 of this best of 7 series. It couldn't get any better. Can Kid SC make the miracle comeback? Not a single team has been able to come back in this series so far, but they need to work out their defense. They can't leave their goal as exposed as that.
Yeah, they really can't, as the goal gets left a little bit open there with not great boost management from this KSC team. But as I say that, Tigray needs to put it down instead, opts for the side to find Nagflow again. Arno's going to be able to get the clear there, but misses the ball. Going to follow up instead, and this is where the opportunities come for a counter-attack. But Matty not quite getting the pass infield, instead gets the double touch. He doesn't mean to, but that's the risk you run when you play a ball into the wall at that sort of angle, as Matty tries to pass it over to Pads. Pads needs to get a block on here because all of the defense have disappeared, and it's Tigray to get the 4th goal for this Berlin team. You cannot overcommit that badly. The double commit completely taken out two key players from the game. Pads and Arno nowhere to be found. Mati no chance of defending that one, as Tigray makes it another 2-goal deficit.
This could very well be the difference maker in this game 7. The way that Tigray was able to challenge these balls in midfield, and the way he was faster to them almost every single time, beating 1 or 2 defenders even. And this could almost be an own goal there from Arno, but it's still 24 seconds left. They can potentially come back into this, but it almost needs a miracle.
Yeah, would really need a miracle as the clock counts down. They're just not getting the ball out quickly enough, and Tigray knows what he needs to do. Needs to slow down that play as Arno goes for a touch over the back ball, but it doesn't matter now. It is all done. There is no chance to get back a goal that quickly, and as the clock hits 0, Berlin take the final game in this 7-goal series, getting back-to-back games against a 3-2 game deficit. And they win the EURC 2020 Berlin Phoenix show. They are the dominant force, a force to be reckoned with. And credit to KSC, they played their hearts out, but Berlin, the eventual winners here.
What an incredible showing from these two teams. And in the end, yes, it is Berlin reigning supreme, and they are European champions. But nobody expected it to look that close. And to be honest, at times, I actually thought Kid SC had this series. They looked like they could have gotten away with it. They looked like they potentially could have won Game 6, and they just couldn't find the opening. And what an incredible comeback, so to speak, from Berlin in game 6 and 7, and then to be able to dominate them in game 7 again, it just shows how strong this team is and how strong they are mentally to, especially after a game that lasted for 11 minutes, come back with a game like this one. And I mean, they deservedly win this championship.
Yeah, and I mean, it's got to be said, I've heard in the background from Sin that last year's EURC 2019 also went to a Game 7 overtime, with Loughborough blowing their lead against Oldenburg after leading 3-2 in the series, and the repeat has happened here. But that's not to say Kit SC blew this, because in my opinion, Kit SC performed out of their minds. Every single player on that team deserves to come away as a victor today, and they do pretty much. Second place, it's not quite first, but my word, they deserved to be first as well. It's just a shame one team has to win overall. But Berlin, credit to them, they did dominate every team they came up against, with the exception of Kit SC, who managed to take a total of 4 games. The only 4 games they dropped this entire EURC was all against Kit SC. That shows their dominance. Absolutely unbelievable performance from all of them. None of them should be disappointed there, because that was just unreal. And I just want to say as well, for all of those who are still obviously tuned in, still watching, there's going to be an EUR weekly now. So a European Rocket League weekly, 6 p.m. BST, and that begins the 13th of April. Please do get sign-ups. The sign-up sheet isn't ready just yet, but it will be out tonight. Please keep a lookout for that, because it is well worth signing up to, because you get to play against teams like this. And if you're a player who's looking to improve and you want to see what kind of areas you need to improve in, playing against teams like this, that's the perfect opportunity to do it, because at the end of the day, to get through to the finals of any tournament, you're going to come up against teams like Berlin, like Kit SC, like Nottingham Trent, like Oldenburg. You're going to come up against all of these teams at some point. UWE, we saw Gronenberg go out, we saw UWE go out. No one deserved to go out. It's as simple as that, but people have to. They all played their hearts out, and they're all going to know where to improve for the future.
Absolutely. And I mean, once again, just we couldn't have asked for a better final, I guess, than this one, because that lived up to all the hype that we created throughout the course of this EURC campaign. And Berlin, yes, they were expected to win the whole thing, and in the end they did, but I mean, it was incredibly close, and all credit to Kit SC once again for making it such a close series. And especially, I think a lot of it came down to how well they were finally able to execute their team play, because especially Pats, she stepped up incredibly. We were talking about her earlier, whether she could be a weak link in this team, but there were no signs of her being a weak link. And Mati and Arno, we already knew that they had this incredible synergy, and they were able to rotate so well as 3 players, and made Berlin's life miserable in defense at times. It was so hard for them to defend, and we haven't seen them struggle at all that much in any series so far. So once again, what an amazing series, and 2 teams that absolutely deserved being the winner of this. And as you already said, it can only be one who is crowned European champion. And in the end, it was small little details that made a difference here.
Yeah, it really was. And that being said, I mean, to hold off, this team came off of the back of a 4-0 sweep. To be able to what was it, 7-0, 6-0 in the first game? 7-0, I think it was. To be able to 7-0 that team, that's unbelievable. And you're right, we did talk about Pads being the weaker link, but actually, no player on either teams looked like a weak link at all during this series.
Absolutely.
And that is something that cannot be said for any other series we've seen in EURC. I'm not going to be a negative caster and go into who's been the weak links in the other game, because it doesn't matter. The final was unbelievable, and everybody performed to the best of their ability. When you come up against 2 players who have both been in RLCS, it's understandable that when they perform to the best of their ability, it's going to be slightly better than the bubble players, like the players who are in those top echelons of the MMR rankings, but not quite managed it in there yet, because they have that tournament play. They know what they need to do. They've seen how to improve morale, how to change team chemistry mid-game, mid-series, and it's something that now, walking away from that, Kit SC are going to be able to do in the future. And I would not be surprised if this Kit SC is staying the same. I would not be surprised if next year they came back and absolutely took EURC, because they had every right to win that. But at the end of the day, Berlin's performance throughout this entire EURC, they deserve to win that.
Absolutely. And I mean, also in regards to German Uniliga, this just makes it that much more interesting, because we have seen a super dominant season from Berlin in the last season. But to see that they can be that you can beat them, that there is a possibility to challenge them in this play style even, and that just makes it so much more interesting. And I hope that it's not going to be that one-sided next season. But for now, I mean, I guess they're just going to be super happy that they finally won this, because both we've talked about it before, I guess, like last week. Both T-Gray and Nagflow had their fair share of sort of unpleasant seasons, let's put it that way, in RLCS and RLRS. So you could really feel that they wanted to win this. They wanted to go out with a bang out of this season, and they did. They delivered at every single point, and it's just, I mean, you have to give credit for them to them for keeping that mental up in that series.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I don't have too much more to say. I don't know if you do either, but that was just, yeah, one of the best games I've seen. And I think with that, thank you so much to everybody who has tuned in for this EURC 2020. And that's not just this week, that is every week we've shown it. You guys have been absolutely incredible. The input from you guys, the amount you guys are kind of really interacting with us as well, absolutely lovely. Absolutely wonderful. 68% of you predicting that as a victory. And honestly, I think that's a fair representation of how the match went. If anything, I'd have given it 50-50. I said that I thought Kit SC would take the game, and I genuinely did think that Kit SC was going to take the victory. And I even believed it at 3-2. I thought, hey, I've got 100% of these right today. But unfortunately for me, just managing to get that last one wrong. Not quite getting it. Thank you so much, Crafty, as well, for casting alongside me. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. It's been incredible, an incredible journey. And also from us and the entire production crew and all the casts you've seen throughout the course of EURC. I mean, there's been many others, and we have had multiple streams in different languages. So thanks to all those guys as well, that we're able to hopefully deliver an incredible EURC season. So with that, we thank you and say goodbye to probably the best EURC we've seen ever. And it's been incredible. So make sure to stick around, follow all the channels on social media to see when there's more EURC or European University Rocket League stuff coming your way. So take care, stay healthy in these times, and we'll see you soon. Again, thanks again to you, Kilsync, for casting this alongside me. And
yeah, thank you very much, man. It's been lovely.
It has been, absolutely. So take care and good night.
Also ganz ehrlich, 15% Herz sind ja ganz nice, aber du musst definitiv auf das Live-Set gehen, weil es in Kombi mit Schildbonus immer viel mehr bringt. Vor allem, wenn du voll auf Konstitution skillst. Dann ist alles vorbei. Besonders, wenn dein Mainstat in Prozent ist und nicht flat, aber das ist ja eh klar.
Ja klar.
Burning down the walls, we let the monsters in, and now we're running down the halls. No, we can't let them win. There's an evil inside, it is lurking way down below. And if I can't hold my breath, then I'm bound to become hollow. Can you say that I've disappeared? Can you say that
wasn't there for you when you went into hiding on the front steps of your porch. And I reflected on the memories, but I put out that torch. Hey! But I put out that torch. You make me feel like home. You turn around, I feel the breeze over me. You watch your dreams